Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Double up on Young. Double up. He's in trouble. Traps it once. Something taps it. Look at all this. Comes back. And look at this. And an easy basket. After all that. Clark in a straight check. Oh, he didn't do that. He threw it away. Wing. Peace. Timeout, Virginia. Flanagan finds him in the corner. Can he do it again? Yes, he can. What a big turn of events. Wow. No good. Arizona with a clear that will not go. And the Tigers of Princeton growl their way into round two as they upset the number 2 seed Wildcats of Arizona.
Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency, alongside Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers. We are live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club, a live show, another live show here at the restaurant, and we have our guy Daniel off to our right.
What if he didn't want people to know he was here already?
I'm letting everybody know because it's either he's here or he's in our YouTube comments. So if he's not in those, people are going to be like, "Where's Daniel today?" Well, he's here.
So just for laughs and giggles, this morning I looked at the potential, like I pretended to need a ride already for Uber, and it's about $16 more than normal, and that was at 5:10 this morning. So surge pricing will, I'm sure, hit you today on St. Patrick's Day if you need a ride.
I'm wearing my green.
So
got the hat.
Plan accordingly.
You know, I even got the socks today for all of those on StreamYard, green socks. Bet you didn't think I would do a leg kick this morning.
You remind me of Zoe. Call her Flexi Lexi.
I don't know about that. This leg kick probably does not look like Zoe.
Hey, listen, I'm with you. I'm happy every morning that I can stand on one leg, bend the knee, and put a sock on. How about that?
I sit on the bed. Is that weird?
Yeah. But full disclosure, I've been that guy. Like, my back has been kind of, my man Dookie Clint and his superstar wife. He's Dookie Clint. She's Super Sarah.
Oh, I thought it was the other way
she's
around.
got to look at that door like, oh, my God, I think I broke it. No, you didn't. It's totally us.
Need a running start.
So it is corned beef Benedict and eggs. Wait, what's the proper term?
Corned beef, eggs Benedict.
Yeah, that. So
corned beef, eggs Cumberbatch.
So every morning I kind of gauge my fitness on whether I can stand on one leg and bend the knee. So I'm still able to do that, but there have been some mornings I went through a stretch with a bad back. I literally was laying down and put my leg up to put a sock on. How embarrassing is that?
Was that repercussions from football? Or
no, this was just like a year ago. Then it was 2 years ago. I went through a stretch where I just couldn't get it right. But I saw a couple people. They fixed me. Sort of. Kind of. So
you seem very hurt right now.
So I feel better. Do you know how you knew I had to get back in shape? This is so embarrassing, but full disclosure. I have this weird thing when I brush my teeth that I don't like to make the sink messy. So I keep as much as I can in my mouth all the time when I'm brushing, right? Just brush. And then when I'm done, I know if I'm out of shape, like if from holding my breath, I'm kind of breathing hard. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think that has anything to do with you being out of shape. I think that just means exhale.
I'm like, man, I got to have better wind than that. I can't even get through.
So did you go back on the treadmill?
I can't even get through the birthday song and a couple of names because that's usually what I try to do. I got a lot of weird things.
You don't have the toothbrush that times it for you now?
No, but guess what?
The electric one?
Traumatized. And I had to break my routine and turn on the light because my toothbrush fell on the floor. Oh, I was.
Where does that go?
It's in the trash.
Yep. Right into the basket.
I was devastated. But I have another embarrass me full disclosure morning. So I have a 5-pack. And I don't know if you guys
I have a 6-pack.
Buy your toothbrush is in bulk. But sometimes opening those things should be a lot easier for an adult than they really are. I was on the struggle bus because I don't have the nails to get in there and pull it apart. So I was like bending it and folding it to get an opening
to pull it open.
So it looks like it was mangled by a small lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
character.
Listen, man, that was my morning. I'm just a regular dude that struggles.
A regular dude.
Sometimes breathes heavy when I have to hold my breath brushing my teeth.
I'll tell you what, I rebelled against brushing my teeth last night.
Yeah. Why?
Oh
yeah, you're out of Colgate.
Come on, go ahead.
No, it's okay. You went out on a limb. Like if you would have been right, I would have been floored. I mean, you were picking against 65% of the bracket's Final Four team. Like
yeah,
Texas is in like 60-some% of the Final Four.
Exit yesterday.
Told you, man. He's hurt.
I'm okay with him playing. Like that's fine with me. If I'm the player in that moment, I'm like, hey, I want to be on the court. The doctors say I can be on the court.
I'm with you.
They did not play well.
No,
they needed him.
I just don't trust him. Right? We went through it a couple shows ago. I'm like, man, he scored 50% of their points in the semis. He didn't play. They got dusted off by Memphis. I'm like, do you trust them? I still can't believe the committee stuck it to Kansas, and I'm not even a rock chalk guy. It's principle.
Princeton or principal?
Principalities. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, that was the game of the afternoon. I thought it was going to be Furman. Then all of a sudden, here comes that 15. And when they won, I was sitting on my couch at the time and thought,
damn it, there it goes by 15.
There's no way Colgate wins now. There's just no way. It only happened one time. But you know what? I had to stay confident, stay true to myself.
You don't think you'll get one today?
Mm-mm.
That's my man. Everybody gets
Vermont. You think Vermont's winning?
Everybody gets a nickname. I call him T-Square because he has super broad shoulders and a super tapered.
He sure does.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a T.
He's somebody that we wish we looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. He's kind of looking at me sideways like, where'd that come from? I was like, it's in my mind.
And then you got caught staring.
That was a long time ago.
Like,
not all
away.
the time.
Look away.
What are you looking at? Nothing?
Sorry, it was just behind you.
Not a darn thing. So you don't think no 15? No, not one of the two 15s gets it done today? No.
So you have isn't it only?
That's it.
Only one.
Yeah.
So Vermont and Vermont's a good team.
The Catamounts
playing Marquette, which is crazy. Funny story. 2 days ago, we were going through the bracket, and DB's like, "Man, I really want to play a game to where I just get a matchup or give a matchup."
Yeah, that was unreal. So I was gonna make like a competition out of it, and it's funny because in my head it started out, I bet I can, but then as I was talking, I was like, I wonder if you could. So then I totally flipped it in my head, and what I wanted to do was just give you 2 seeds, and you give me the team. You said you were pretty good, so I took it one step further and went, just the seeds give me the teams in the region.
Right.
So I would say, whatever, 8, 9, and you'd say
Memphis, FAU,
Iowa, blank,
Auburn, whatever.
Blank region.
Right.
And you did it for like 9 seeds. And I was like,
we can't play this
We're
game.
not going to play this game. It was kind of weird.
You know why? Because I filled out 16 brackets.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset, but I feel like I should give you a little grace because you don't know any better. But
are you saying I don't use my time wisely?
Bro, it's
what I do. It's my favorite time of year.
It's like 13 too many. Like I could see, in my head, 5 seems like a good number because some people have 5 friends, that may want you to like get into something. Hey, I got a bracket, or hey, we got a whatever the brackets version of squares is or something like that. So you may do that 4 or 5 times.
It's like a fantasy league.
But you get into double digits, we got to talk.
No, I've been doing it ever since high school.
Hey, that doesn't make it acceptable.
It does, because here's where I'm at. Like, why wouldn't I want to give myself a chance to win that $1 million prize or whatever it is on ESPN?
Yeah, so
especially because they have an autofill button. So like you can just randomize it and then change it around the way you want it to look. One of my brackets has Princeton and Furman. You said don't tell people that, but I'm going to tell them.
Yeah, I just don't know if I would do that. Like, because I don't know if I want to give you any.
Well, don't give me props for picking those 2 teams, because I would not, if I was filling out the bracket, which on the majority of them I did, I would not have picked Furman and Princeton to take it home. But when I give myself a bigger sample size to choose from, then I can get a little adventurous with some picks. So I'm cool with it. In some brackets, though, like that, you know what? I can probably tell you. So I had Creighton winning that bracket.
Do you think you could probably tell me?
I think I could probably tell you.
I think you could probably tell me. But you know what I really like, though, down here is I really like – so in one of my bracket that I filled out for Hail Varsity, I'm not in near as bad a shape as I thought, right? Because I didn't even want to go back and look because, as you know, and one person in here in particular knows, I took it down to the final 3 minutes to fill out my bracket because I couldn't. I didn't have enough.
Distracted.
I didn't have enough alone time.
Yeah, there were 3 people talking.
Which usually isn't a problem.
You gave me your laptop and said, Andrew, I'll tell you the team to pick.
Because I couldn't dial in. It was too much going on, and it was like 11:06. And so I tried to go to a separate table, and then people came over there, and then I was just like.
And it's not like you can just pick West Virginia, Maryland, and then get 20 minutes of buffer before the start of that Virginia game. It locks.
I had to roll
right when that first game starts.
So when I clicked on it this morning, it told me that I wasn't done yet. And I was like, wait a minute, did I screw up? Because 98% chance I could have. But somehow I got it done.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Makes me happy that you did. This bracket actually doesn't look that bad, though.
Which one?
The one that had
one
Princeton
of your 15. One of your 15.
This is one that we'll say in the Midwest has Indiana and Xavier in the Elite Eight, with Indiana moving on. In the West, Kansas is moving on. In the East, K-State's moving on, and in the South, it's Creighton.
Creighton. What time is that game? 3? What?
3,
Yes.
5? Are the girls at women at 5?
I know why Dookie Clint's here. Dookie Clint's here because his Blue Devils look it's. I feel sick and a little nauseous and queasy. I've been saying this for like 5 weeks. They're playing well.
Yeah, they could win it all.
That they are playing well, and they're going to be
team.
They're going to be a handful. So that's
especially for Tennessee, who almost coughed one up to the Raging Cajuns.
Nope. Especially for North Carolina, who's at the house chilling. They're like, go
every other team that
not named Duke. And then they're sending like text messages about who's with whose girlfriend.
Yeah, they're like, no, she's mine. No, she's mine.
So petty. Grow up, fellas. Grow up.
Duke's like, yeah,
allegedly.
I only have one woman that I'm looking at, and it's that NCAA championship trophy.
Yeah. That would really pain my heart.
Any year.
It's just, I mean, that's like one team that I'm kind of rooting against. And I'm not usually like that, but on a year that Carolina is at home, I'm for sure cheering against Duke, which is another reason why all the stuff, remember I showed you that mail?
Oh, yeah. A big pile of mail.
Duke continually writes
a handwritten note.
That's when you stop doing that for selfish reasons when you're recruiting. My mailman yesterday literally shook his head at me. And you know what he told me? I felt like I was about 6. He said, man, you gotta do better. You gotta do better.
About in regards to,
because I'm like an every 3 or 4 day guy.
What logo's on there? Or?
No, well, so when I had to, so did I tell you the debacle that they stopped delivering and made me go pick it up at the station?
No.
Yeah, so this was like 3 weeks ago, and it's like Fort Knox. I don't know, like I have to go to the Stony Brook one, so maybe somebody can attest to this. So you first of all, it's hard to find. You knock on this little secret door. And they only pull like the top half open.
It's like speakeasy.
Kinda. I'm like, hey.
Like an underground casino.
Like, yeah, take a vodka.
Not that I've been. I just watch a lot of movies.
Oh, allegedly. And so the guy peeks around the corner, and he knew right away. He goes, oh man, you gotta stop having all these lousy schools talk to your kid. We wouldn't have these problems. I just was like,
there it is.
I was like, hey, man, I don't even know if this is the right place I'm supposed to be. You only have 5 parking stalls. You got to wait in line and do the secret knock to get in, and that's the greeting?
Well, it's because they're only putting the red N in your mailbox. They're not putting anything else. They're making you go get those.
These people kill me with, the big, Matt, it's probably not the word. What are the things that are, pre-done like your coupons would come on, and it's just like a general brochure. They're like, like those little matted.
Yeah, it's like
prints.
a coupon
They're
page.
not in anything.
Right.
It's just
a page of coupons.
It's just the page.
Yeah.
Like
you get a fast food restaurant.
don't send those. That's like,
What do you mean? What if it was McDonald's and Zoe wanted to get her chicken nuggets?
no. If you're just telling me about Jumpman and your gear and like the unit, like that's not
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm with you.
But that doesn't, and it's big too, so it takes up the mailbox. I don't got time for that.
Those more times than not just go right into the recycle bin.
Yeah.
You're sifting through it on your way inside. Toss what you don't need. Set a bunch of random collegiate offers, letters, recommendations, whatever it is on the counter.
Long way to go.
And then wait for the defensive player of the year, according to Mike Sautter's superlatives, to come home.
Yeah, so I think he's doing that because he's trying to be nice for today. Is he today?
He is today.
Yeah.
So is he after JC?
Yes, he's at 9.
Yeah, it's a lot to go through today, man. I'm pretty pumped about wrestling.
We have a good spread.
Nebraska's got a huge. Can you imagine next weekend in Lincoln?
It's going to be outrageous.
Yeah, it's going to be a party down there. I kind of wonder now if it's too many.
Can you have too many?
Yes.
And what would too many? What would the number look like for too many?
That's a good question. And I'm sure they won't have any problems with.
Are you worried about playing favorites?
Oh, heck
if there's
no.
too many?
No. So whatever. So here's the cool thing about me. Whatever's supposed to happen will happen, and I'm okay with the results because that's supposed to be how it goes. So, if he gets if guys don't like kind of how they were treated or the perception or whatever because it's too busy, I mean, then that's part of the deal, right? That's originally. Now this was 25 visitors ago. Why we didn't want to go that weekend. But we got a couple of other things planned this week. So if I have to dip out of the show quick, you know where I'm at. Oh, man, he's gone. Where'd he go?
I'll probably find my way down there at least a couple times next week.
The schedule, I mean, he'll have his own presser. He can tell his own business. But there's a couple reasons why the times had to shake out that way because they just released the media schedule too and availability yesterday. So, I mean, it'll be you'll know enough to have an opinion. I mean, you'll get to see enough to have an opinion, so you'll be all right.
Well, and I'm looking forward to it.
Are you?
I am.
We're going to be all
right. I think a lot of people are looking forward to this time of year.
Yeah. So I am probably because I get to mix sports. Like you get the collision of, NBA, NCAA, Major League Baseball, spring ball for football. It's a lot going on.
What is better, this time of year or when you get into like September, October, when you're in the heat of the NFL, you're in the heat of college football, you have the World Series on deck, you have hockey beginning again, or is it this time of year when you have college football re-ramping up? You have the NFL draft coming.
I'll take the first one.
Okay. I would say so too.
I'll take the first one.
I'll take it.
October is a pretty spectacular month. It's a lot going on.
Can't really, if you're looking for something to do in the sports world, you can't really miss your opportunity at turning the channel one way and not finding something.
Yeah, I'll take that. What is on the show today? I know I tweeted it out, but I didn't read because I can't read. Well, there's something wrong with my vision this morning.
Is it because you brushed your teeth and
held my breath?
Yeah, held your breath. And
no, but like if I turn
when you go too deep in the ocean,
I think I need to like change the background or the font size because it's a struggle. Because I mean, should I be able to read that?
Yes.
How in that?
I don't know, Timmy. I don't know what is on the show.
Mike Schaefer is coming your way at 7:30. We will talk to him next. Jessica Coody, announcer and host on the Husker radio network. She's kind of been all over the place. She is in Tulsa.
Yeah,
currently.
She's in Oklahoma doing something. I don't know what's up.
Yeah, what's happening down there?
Well, the whole women's NIT too is kind of
throwing a curveball.
She's going to hear that and be so pissed.
No look past Vrzal to Casey.
And she was on the call for the NIT.
Guarantee if she's listening, she's cussing me out right now.
The WNIT. So we will get her thoughts on a ton of different things because she's kind of a jack of all trades in that light. At 8:45, we will change gears entirely and talk UFC with Kevin Iole.
Yeah, big weekend.
This may be one of the best cards that I've seen in recent weeks.
It's legit. Co-main event. It's going to be spectacular. And one of our own with Usman back at it after the stunning loss to Edwards.
Some drama building too, leading up to that fight.
He's a mean-spirited cat.
Which is funny, though, because both Edwards and Usman are pretty quiet in a way.
Yeah.
Like, they're not ones to, like, really dive into trash talk. But there was some trash talking done.
Yeah. He's focused because I think, he was trying to make the case for best pound for pound. And he was dominating that fight for 4 rounds. And
no question. And then he got sent to the hospital.
The old left kick to the dome piece.
He woke up in the hospital the next day.
Did
I win?
That'll do it.
Did I do it?
Hey, so again, something's wrong with my vision. But what's that say again? That's because he's a mailman. I am on the struggle bus. I may have to go get my readers.
Do you want me to just read it?
Yeah.
Cold?
Yeah.
We really have no choice on the EDDM mailings.
Don't know what that means.
Don't know either. Only way around it is if a customer calls the business or publisher and gets taken off their list, which isn't very common. Oh, that's based on the ads that you get.
Oh, so yeah,
like
I don't mean that they were actually ads. I mean what I'm trying to describe. That it comes on like the little poster cardboard thing reminds me of an ad. But I certainly wouldn't. I'm not going to say, "Hey, school X, stop sending stuff." Which,
right.
Well,
the one that takes some time.
There's probably a couple I would tell that to, given my druthers, but we won't.
We'll remain silent.
We're gonna be all right.
You have the right to remain silent.
I plead the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PF.
That's
at 9 o'clock. We will talk to Mike Sautter, high school sports insider for Hurrdat Sports. We'll sit in this chair live on the show.
Will he fall asleep again? Man, is he a lightweight?
Yeah, if he has the Sautter sleeper, maybe.
Yeah. Did he actually fall asleep yesterday?
He was pretty relaxed.
Like the voice from God.
He was pretty relaxed. Who are you, Morgan Schillerberg Freeman?
Maybe.
He just came out of nowhere.
I saw the tweet yesterday, and you couldn't tell if he was actually sleeping or not.
No, he just was relaxed.
He would tell you that he wasn't sleeping, but mentally he was not there. He was in his own world, his own space.
I think it was
just looking off into the distance.
I think it was beers and burgers.
Well, he bounced back like a champ. I mean, we are in the Lenten season where you rise from the dead. He goes to the bar and gets another beer.
Just tie the whole thing together, man. Weave it together like tapestry.
Hey, we'll play Doggy Dog with DB at 9:30 and talk to Matt Vrzal, of course, as we always do to end the show on a Friday. But hey, our poll question of the day. Who is more likely to snag a round of 32 upset, Furman or Princeton?
I like that.
Stop.
Snag.
Snag.
Snig.
I'm going
Snag.
with Furman, not to sway
Snog.
your vote, though.
Snug, whatever Shane likes to say. Mike Schaefer up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Mike Schaefer on his way soon. We will get that interview going in a few moments. Back to our poll question, DB. What do you think? In the round of 32, is it Princeton over Mizzou or is it Furman over SDSU? You
Furman
pulled out the glasses.
I had to.
The readers, the cheaters,
I had to.
the believers.
Believers and achievers. Somebody won that award during state basketball again. I never know what the criteria is. I just know that when those people stand out there on the court or the field, it's like they're like happy holding their little deals. And the believers and achievers, I should know considering I do work for that network that actually tells you about who's won that award. But I should ask the folks at the NSA what the criteria is. I feel like every time I talk to those guys and gals, we talk about something other than, like last time, a couple days, I was just talking to Dolliver about his daughter, how he kept that a secret because she's pretty amazing. And the day before that, I was talking to Newhouse about rules changes. And during the girls' week, I was talking to Newhouse about why Texas doesn't join the rest of the high school football conferences in the rules committee. And then we talked to Dr. Elsa a couple days later, and we figured out why.
Yeah,
they play by the big boy rules.
Mike Schaefer on with us now. Let's welcome him in, looking as fresh as ever with a nice clean cut to his beard. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Mike J., how are you, buddy?
I am. I'm doing well. I've got a bit of a cold, so I apologize for the scratchy voice, but
kind of cool. Sounds like a radio voice.
Yeah. Does it sound like I had a really good call yesterday in one of the games going on?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Should I ask you the low-hanging fruit, the proverbial question? How's your bracket?
I don't really believe in brackets.
Oh, that's right. You shut it down about, when did you tell me? This was a year ago. So you haven't done it since 20. Don't tell me, because you told me in passing last year. 2012.
Right around there, yeah. So I stopped with the bracket. Like, I do one for work. Like, we have a contest for Husker 24/7. So I filled one out yesterday morning in about 25 seconds. It had Virginia in the final.
Sounds like DB.
So,
hey, did Bruncy do his with like some sort of logarithm? Or
I don't even think Brunt's got his done. He's on vacation this week, so
that's right, because we had
a built-in excuse. I think we've had this similar feeling on brackets. Bruntz wants to hear about people's brackets in the same way he does their fantasy football teams and their closest hole-in-ones and their bad beats at the poker table. That's how Bruntz feels
pragmatic.
All things that I'd like to know.
He could talk to you for about 5 minutes,
I'd like
and that'd be about it.
So no, I have a bracket. I put very little effort into it. It has Marquette over UCLA. That's where I'm at.
That's all right. That's not a bad one, though.
Not bad.
Did you have the Princeton one?
No, I didn't have Princeton. I think my biggest upset was Charleston, and I thought they were going to pull it off yesterday, and they did not. They did not come through.
Hey, Schaefer, I was just joking with Andrew for a variety of reasons about next weekend. And I think I'm being sarcastic. Maybe it's different when you're like one of the kids that may not get attention at the party. But can you have too many invites?
I know that previous staffs have talked about how they don't want to, like, you have different recruiting events. You have ones that you have a big number where you know you're not going to talk to everyone. And it's just about getting people in there and that sort of thing. And then you have other events that it's specifically designed that those recruits have every minute of their time there filled with something or somebody to kind of help really nail down the recruitment. So, yeah, I mean, part of it, guys, I think we need to get to like Wednesday before we really know what that list is going to be.
Oh, yeah, like. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, like, there's already names that are coming off of it. Like, I know it's a lot of fun to get super excited about the 30-man visit weekend, but we'll see who actually shows up. We'll see what that list looks like. And then, of course, you know, this staff knows what they're doing. They've been in these big visit weekends before. This was something they did at Baylor quite a bit that really was successful for them. So they obviously, Matt Rule feels strongly enough about his past history with it that he's willing to do it again. But yeah, I mean, it definitely seems incredible if you've been following Nebraska recruiting. Like, you just don't have a weekend like this unless it's built around a game day or the spring game. So for one of these to just be at the end of March is pretty unique.
Well, Coach wants recruits to come watch practice and just really see what Nebraska is all about. What do you think the spring effect will be on the 2024 recruiting class?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is going to be waiting on Dylan Raiola. I mean, I think that there's a fair amount of people that are involved in this recruiting weekend that are going to be really interested in what he does. I don't look for a lot of commitments to come out of this weekend because you've got a lot of guys that are visiting Nebraska for the first time. And if we know anything about Nebraska recruiting, almost regardless of coaching staff. It takes a couple visits usually to land those commitments. So now this staff is a little bit different. They're going to pursue things differently. We obviously, Roger Gradney committed. He never even had to visit. So maybe they're going to have more success pulling guys off of one visit. But a lot of this feels precursor to me. It's a setup to get these guys back for an official visit. It's a setup to get them back for a visit in June. It's a setup to get them back for a visit in October. So I think, if you look at it more in terms of long-term, it's a big introductory weekend. And if you kind of can have that view, you're not going to be real disappointed next week if there's not a lot of commitments that follow.
Hey, Schaefer, I don't know the number off the top, and I'm not sure you do either, but what's Nebraska have from carryover for official visits for a new staff this calendar year?
I don't know that number off the top of my head. I know that every staff basically usually gets to take 6 over. They might get a little extra depending on how many they use total. Plus, they have those double visits. I don't think that'll be a big problem. I mean, what was the number? Like 56 total official visits, anyway. So that gets you up to 62 when you get that plus 6. I mean, I don't look for the class size to be nearly as big as it was last year. I'm expecting a smaller class in 2024, but we'll see. I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on what they think when the football is actually being practiced. Like they haven't really seen these guys practice or do these things yet. So there's a lot of learning left for the coaching staff about what's on their roster before they determine how many more new additions they really have to go get.
That's a good point.
Mike, really good piece on Quincy Enunwa earlier this week. I mean, somebody that just had 2 offers out of high school, a developmental talent, I should say, and who's motivated to just prove the haters wrong, right? Sounds familiar to Husker fans, does it not? With this coaching staff, I mean, it really had me thinking how this staff can probably do it better than other staffs that have come before. Just what we hear, what's been building. When thinking about the recruiting cheat sheet for the future at Nebraska, what gets you excited most about this staff after hearing the stories from Enunwa and just knowing what they've been able to do?
Yeah, I mean, I look at this staff and I'm really intrigued by their long-term development, and they've thought outside of the box. They've had success with different positions that haven't gone really well for Nebraska. I mean, when you look at his tenure at Baylor, you have to think of the defensive line play, and you look at Nebraska's defensive line right now. And that's one of the big questions coming into 2023. So that's an area where I sort of have an expectation, even with Terrence Knighton being a relatively new coach at the position, I have a pretty high expectation for defensive line play based on Matt Rule's success in the past. I think he's going to find skill position players. So, there's certain hallmarks that I already expect out of this staff just based on what we've seen in the past. Now, that can get you in trouble. It doesn't always happen the same way everywhere. But I just think that certain coaches, even in transitions, there's just things that they do really well. And I would expect Nebraska's play in the trenches to be one of those. So I guess I'm really actually curious, moving off of 2023, what it kind of looks like in 2024, if we can sort of identify what Tony White wants up front on his defensive line, the type of guys that Matt Rule wants, in that front 7, what that all looks like. Because in December of last year, you're either taking the guys that you already had or you're grabbing the best that's available, like a Prince will. What's it look like when the whole board is out there? I mean, so that's going to be one of the interesting things to kind of watch, I think, really with this 2024, 2025. What is that defensive front, that front 7? What does that look like? How does Tony White want to find pieces for the Big Ten and after his first go-around? That sort of thing. So I have a lot of attention, I think, on what that defense is going to look like moving forward. Maybe even more so than the offense, where I feel like Nebraska inherits more. And I think the staff will be okay in terms of getting those skill position guys.
Schaefer, real quick, you saw the media availability, the practice schedule come out yesterday. About what you thought from an accessibility standpoint, better than you thought? You feel good about it?
Yeah, I feel good about it. I mean, honestly, I didn't have like a big, I didn't have a wish list. There's nothing I felt like I really needed to get out of it. So as long as there's access and as long as you can keep, learning from this staff and these coaches and getting to know them and that kind of thing. I mean, that's what I really cared about. And you have to, as a media member, I really have to tip my cap to Matt Rule, because they've been as accessible as you want. I mean, we've got a series going every week on different states, and they've made assistant coaches available to us. And those guys have given us, 20, 25 minutes of their time, and we're getting really good stuff out of it. And so I don't think access is going to be a problem with, what we're seeing right now. Obviously, things can change over time, but I don't think access is the thing that Matt Rule really worries about with the media. And so far, he's given us enough of it. And, when the media is happy, we squawk less. So it seems like there's been a lot less squawking this offseason than it was.
Oh, shoot.
Fair point. Mike Schaefer, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much. We'll talk again next week.
Thanks, Mike J.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Sorry about the voice. Have a great weekend.
Never apologize. More CNC next.
Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you out there as DB chose to really get into the spirit of the holiday today.
Green with envy that you fine folks wore green. It's my sister's birthday, too, so happy birthday to Tracy. Yeah, she's out in California. She's proud.
Is that the one that kills it?
They both do. Well, all three do, really.
Except, yeah, you're the odd man out.
Yes, I do radio.
One is what? A brain surgeon?
Well, yeah.
Essentially.
So one's at what's the big one's at Bloomberg.
Bloomberg. Okay.
Yeah, there's a Lady Don, couple grants from NASA in San Francisco, so opposite coast.
Holy cow.
And then Kim is in St. Louis. She's a recruiter.
And here you are.
Yep.
Sitting with me.
Just me and you. Yeah, so people can stop on out for St. Patrick's Day, too. It doesn't just have to be the the breakfast in our miserable company. Although I am surprised to see one of our guests. He's got to be going on about a 3-dayer.
Who just walked in a little bit late.
He
just threw his hands up.
I mean,
whatever the hell it is.
I admire his stick-to-itiveness because he's getting it in.
Put a little Bailey's in the coffee today.
I think he's just getting started. I'm giving him some time to get acclimated.
It's flickering.
Just got to stay on. So we're having a debate over. So are breakfast potatoes not a good thing? Like, what are we arguing about here on social media? Look, Daniel's like, what's going on?
That was Amon's tweet, right?
Not the Amon, but an Amon. Did you not see the Avi? Even I can see that. And
Well, his name is Amon, is it not? I was just
he said
identifying.
He said the Benny looks bomb in general, but in general, breakfast potatoes ain't it. I don't know. I do think
more
there's
hash browns.
I do think there's a way to do breakfast potatoes, but I don't know if I would thumb my nose up. I think if I was going to do a starch, aren't those starches for you smart people? I think my preference would be grits. Then I would probably go hash browns. I think, like, given the choice.
I'd probably go hash browns first.
Like the shredded ones or the one like
shredded.
The whole
shredded. Unless I'm going to McDonald's, then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take one of those.
My mom does some
prepackaged
breakfast
frozen hash brown pieces.
Some breakfast potatoes in the skillet that are pretty legit.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, the meal tonight, traditional corned beef dinner with cabbage, baby reds, and toast for only $16 at Hail Varsity Club. The Reuben on rye. And then if you are thirsty, which people tend to be a little bit thirsty on St. Patrick's Day, $4 Guinness Tall Boys, or can cater Irish Red Ale, and $3 Baby Guinness shots. Are you a Guinness guy? Are you a dark beer drinker if you're drinking beer?
Absolutely not.
I'm more of a
no.
Yeah, just give me like the Bud Light, Busch Light color. Nice little see-through lager. I'm good with that.
I don't know. I just has never been my thing.
I've had a Guinness before. They're good, but I can only have one.
Did you? So apparently there were 2 rounds of getting slammed yesterday here at HVC. There was the
Hurrdat Sports watch party.
Yep, and then they said it like up after 4. It was pretty tough. So maybe they're just. I was surprised to see like some people back working. I was like, wow, that is a quick turnaround for what was going on yesterday.
I don't know if Trey stayed after 4.
No, he was done at 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, he got the party started.
Let's get it started.
You know what I mean?
Let's get it started.
They were handing out like tables of 12 at like 10:20, and we weren't even open yet.
Yeah, well, the private party that came in.
Well, that was this one. I'm talking about the one in the back corner too was big.
Oh, it was loaded once that West Virginia game tipped off.
Yeah.
I say West Virginia. I should say Maryland
So
they won.
So I'm not a St. Patrick's Day guy getting out. Does the tournament hamper what's going on today, or are they just all together St. Patty's people plan accordingly? Dookie Clint says it all goes together. Like St. Patty's Days they're no rookies. They're going for round 2.
Yeah, I guess it just kind of falls at this time of year, and people will celebrate St. Patty's Day while celebrating the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
or go to a bar just as early and be thankful that, hey, there's sports on from 11 in the morning until about when did that UCLA game get over? Like 11:30?
Yeah.
So you have a 12-hour window of sports.
Mick Cronin talks intense, doesn't he? Did you hear him at halftime?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't like our turnovers, so I hate that. I mean, there's a price to pay for us when you turn the ball over. I was like,
Jim Weeksex. I don't know what to do.
Do
you have any ideas?
I meant to ask AK if he was cool with that. That was that was a little awkward.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen another one like that though. So this was probably 11 maybe, and 11 or 12. Whatever. Coach Petito was in the state championship from Miller North, and Bish had the halftime interview, and JB said something to the effect of, hey, a couple turnovers late or something like that really cost you. And there was this, kind of gave him the mic like he was going to fill in. And Coach Petito goes, yeah, I saw that. I was out here. And I just was like, oh.
Thanks for the reminder.
No, but everybody's had one of those, right? Like I told the story and I don't bring it up to him anymore because we're pretty past that. But my very first high school interview ever at the half was with Coach Woodard. They had run down Central at the half. This is a Grigsby-led team. I think Lorenzo Wilson was on that team. So it was probably 2-03, maybe 04. And they got out. Bellevue West got out to an early first half lead. And they kept going with tempo. And I said at half, I go, hey, I said, that style of play, that tempo kind of let Central back in it. They struggle in the half court. He looked at me and he goes, that's the way that we play. We'll continue to do so. I said, oh.
Good luck, Coach.
Yeah, back to you.
Well, we were talking to Matt DeMarinis yesterday, and it got cut off at the end. And that's when he asked us the question of, do you ever find it weird or intrusive or whatever that reporters would ask a coach a question that he obviously wouldn't give the answer to yet?
Yeah, it's not time-stamped.
Hey, Coach Ed Cooley, what do you think about all the rumors about you going to Georgetown while they're prepping for the NCAA tournament? Like, what answer do you expect to get? Oh, my head's not there yet. Whatever happens. Like, just so that you could be the first person to ask that question. Like, you're not going to get the answer you're looking for. The coach isn't going to be like, yeah, I'm actually taking the job tomorrow.
Yeah, and on a smaller scale, Shrewsbury's going through it.
Another coach, yeah, absolutely.
And
we were talking a little bit about Penn State and the success that they've had this year. Same deal.
How'd you like to?
Rick Pitino could be another one.
Yeah. Again, he will be in St. John sometime next week.
Do you ever buy into the fact of a coach saying, hey, I'd like to be at this spot for the next 8 to 10 years, and then 2 weeks later it is a change? Because that's what Pitino said. He said, I'd like to be at Iona for
well, how about yesterday? Was it yesterday or
time.
the day before? He's like, it's going to take a special place. Really? Stop.
It's going to take some good dollars.
Stop.
Notre Dame?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I know it's some of the rumors.
An ideal place to coach.
I know what some of the rumors are out there. I'm sure Notre Dame kicks the tires across the country, so we'll see what happens. That's a good job, though, I think.
Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but it's a football school.
But they've made their name known in basketball.
Yeah, Bray. That's going to be one. That's one of those jobs where I wonder if it's coach specific.
Yeah.
Serious. They'll pay, though.
Oh, they'll pay well.
They'll pay. So, we'll see what happens.
They will absolutely pay well. Who are you looking forward to today on the tournament side of things? Outside of Creighton, of course, the obvious choice.
I want to watch Bama.
Okay.
I just want to see how crisp they are. And I'll tell you, I kind of want to see Xavier.
Did you say Bama?
Yeah.
But they play tomorrow.
Arkansas, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. I figured that you didn't mean what you were saying there.
Well, I get them confused just because they're both A's and they're both in
red.
Yeah, whatever. Because it's a team that had a lot of buzz early, and then kind of the season happened, and somehow they got to like double-digit losses, and I'm like, what are you shaking your head at?
They did. Arkansas did play yesterday too.
Well, I wanted to see Arkansas.
Thinking?
I'm thinking Arkansas.
Arkansas? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's who you're looking forward to this weekend then?
Yeah,
against KU.
I guess. Am I having a senior moment?
Well, you couldn't see earlier today. Are you doing okay?
I think it was from holding my breath, brushing my teeth.
Which our friends in the audience
because for me that makes too much sense. It's just one of those dangerous teams for me that somehow they get the double-digit losses, and I'm like, what happened?
That's why I'm interested in Providence because of all the Ed Cooley stuff and
But
seeing how well they match
they're
up.
they're not going to beat Kentucky though. I just don't. I don't see it. I mean, I wouldn't.
Is it Hopkins versus Sheboygan, or is it another matchup?
It wouldn't surprise me. I just want to see, like, is Kentucky going to shoot the ball well enough ever to give themselves any sort of balance? And of course, I want to see IU and Kent State. So that's the easy, low-hanging fruit one because I've been on to that one for a while, and I like Indiana. So
looking forward to that as well. Guess when that game
kind of
tips
pained
off.
me to pick against them.
Guess when that game tips off?
That's the 4:13.
9:55.
That's tonight, right?
9:55 tonight.
Yeah, I'll be up.
Oh, I will too. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
Well, even if it wasn't Friday night, I'd
Well,
still be
yeah,
up.
we'll be up. We've done worse.
Hey, we're talking to Jessica Coody next. Stick around.
No look past Vrzal to Casey.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Shelly brings it up, throws it up from half, and she knocked it down. Oh my goodness. What a way to finish the first half. It looked good from the second it left her fingertips.
Jessica Coody on the call for the first game of the WNIT for Nebraska as they took down Missouri State. Is that yesterday? 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
Yeah. 2 days ago. Good call there. Good win for Nebraska as well. They're set to play Mississippi State now. Am I right? All right. I guess I need to ask Jessica. I'm trying to keep everything in order. Let's welcome in Jessica Shane as she sits with us now. Jessica Coody, good morning.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, sure can.
Damon, you like how I show up when you ask me to come on your show? On time?
Already jabs. Is there? Can I hear the beef between this?
That took all of about 5 seconds. I called back. I called Andrew, the other Andrew.
He was supposed to come on at 6:20. He didn't come on until 7:05.
That was the next segment because when I called, it was not. I said at 6. I called at 6. I know what I did. She was on air, so she doesn't know what I did. I text Andrew and I said, "Hey," or her, and I said, "Hey, is 6:30 is now good? Hey, I'm a couple minutes back." And she said, "Can you do the next big segment at 7:00 whatever?" So that's what I did.
Got it.
Is that inaccurate, JC?
I mean, basically, we had no idea where he was. He's supposed to come on at 6:20, and so we were sitting there waiting, like filling time. Like, okay, I guess David Benning's supposed to join us, and then he's not answering the calls. He's not answering text messages. So we fill a whole segment, and then he lets us know, "Hey, sorry about that. My bad." So
you know what's funny about this, Jessica, is you sound like Matt Vrzal at 9:45 with DB going back and forth. I just kind of let you guys go because this is my entertainment.
I tell you, with friends like these people, I mean, who needs enemies?
You know, I just got to say how great this March is without a North Carolina as well, and that will be it. We can move on now.
This is what we're on this morning as she gets a thumbs up from Dookie Quinn over there. Hey, so you've been stretched kind of thin. I know you originally were you wanted to be at nationals. The women, the hoops team is not going to give you any downtime. They're going to keep racking up W's. Softball just did a number on Omaha here midweek. Like, how are you keeping up?
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Originally, when I told you I was going to be down in Oklahoma, I'm from Oklahoma and thought I was going to be down there from Tuesday to Sunday. But then when the NIT unfolded the way that it did, and it's kind of a fluid situation. That's what's crazy is there's no set schedule. Like with the NCAA tournament, you know, you're going to play this day and then if you play that day, then you're going to play 2 days later. But with the NIT, it's very fluid, and so we were told that if the women win, they could play the 18th through the 21st. But the Big Ten Plus picked up the rights to the rest of the NIT games that Nebraska will have. That is one thing that's great about the way that the women's game has moved forward on both the NCAA tournament and the WNIT. Schools are required. It's required to be on stream, TV, all of the above. So, you know, giving the platforms for women's sports. And so Big Ten Plus did pick up the rights to the rest of the games that we will be producing. And so I knew I was going to be on the call for the next one, but it was like 18th through the 21st. It could have been Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, and it ends up being Sunday afternoon. And so I didn't feel like I could get down there and back, and I'd probably miss the finals, which is the point of going down there, right? Because I do think Nebraska's going to have a few guys wrestling for national titles.
So real quick, just follow up on the hoops. So it's not so much venue availability as much as it is accommodating travel?
It's all of the above.
Or is it venue availability?
Yeah, so I mean, I think Nebraska, if they could, would host all of them, but PBA has concerts coming up next weekend. So if Nebraska were to win it's UNI, Northern Iowa, on Sunday, 2:00, by the way, and it will have the stream for it. And I do believe tickets are on sale already. So, but yeah, it's kind of it's availability, and then it's also team travel, and so it's a little bit of combination and just figuring out who has availability to host the games and then how they can get there. Because I think a lot of teams bus as opposed to the NCAA tournament. You're flying on charters everywhere.
Mixed up Creighton women playing Mississippi State
Yeah,
and Nebraska.
6'11",
So
yeah.
those were the two teams there.
Missouri State, Mississippi State. Nebraska just beat Missouri State. So.
Right. Well, and I had that right. I was like, yeah, I know.
Don't give her any ammo. You will get killed.
It's okay. I'm good with it. I'll accept it.
I was saying, I get it. I mean, I almost said Mississippi State.
Oh, we defend Andrew.
Yep, see?
We ruined DB.
Jessica and I on the same wavelength.
That's
Yes.
cool. That's
Before
I'll
cool.
be on
we-
Andrew's team. Definitely not
Yes.
DB's.
Yes.
Oh my God.
2-on-1. Yeah, let's get them. Let's get them. Hey, Jessica, when you called the half court shot, because like when I called games back in college, I was very animated. I like to celebrate, probably like a player likes to celebrate in that moment. Are you a celebrator when you're on the call? Like, do you give like the 3 on your head or throw the 3 in the air?
I think like running down, like at the 3 down. Yeah. No. I don't know. I think I went like this, but I don't know. It was like because I said it on the call, but it literally. I mean, she was smiling. She got the ball and knew that she's gonna be throwing it up at half court. She was smiling when she had the ball, and then as soon as it left her hands, it was in. Like you could tell that thing was going in from the second. There's just some shots that you're like, "Oh, is it going in?" And you knew that one was going in. So it was fun. That was a fun moment. But then it was like the reaction was, yeah, we knew that was going in. And even Sam Hyvee was like, when you got a shooter like Jazz, you expect anything could go in. And so I think if it might have been somebody else, there might have been more of a reaction. But Jazz is just kind of like calm, cool, collected. Yep, I knocked that down. So, but it was fun for sure.
Before I get to wrestling with some of the guys that you did your interviews with following Coach Manning, sometimes the NIT is about who's motivated, right? Did you feel like this team felt like they left something on the table this year, having to battle injuries, kind of what the expectations were ahead of time? Do they seem, pretty motivated to make this deep run?
I think so. And I didn't know myself until that game on Wednesday. And I think for a player like Sam Hyvee, who's played a lot of basketball for Nebraska, and I walked down the tunnel with her, and I've told the story a couple of times on the broadcast and then last night on Sports Nightly. And she was walking down when I was walking in, and I could just tell there was a look in her eye. There was a feel like you could tell she was really excited to get to play in PBA again in front of Husker fans, because that's why she wanted to come to Nebraska. Was, she was sold on the atmosphere that she was going to get to play in, and then the way that this fan base has supported her and her teams for 5 years now. And then you look at her, the beginning of the season, she was injured, then she gets to come back. I just think she was really embracing this final opportunity. And I just, maybe when you become a senior and you realize this is it, and it just kind of clicks. And so then when she's your leader and your senior leader, and then all these players adore Sam Hyvee. I mean, they are, Alexis Markowski has said it all along. I mean, she is so well loved, and they respect and appreciate her so much. I think more than anything, this team wants to do it for Sam Hyvee. And Amy Williams won the WNIT when she was at South Dakota. Mm-hmm. So she knows how to get a team motivated. And I think she told the team, hey, it's a different dream now. And this team went into the season, I think hoping that they would be hosting an NCAA tournament site at PBA. But it changed, but now they're getting to host NIT. And I think they're just, they said the dreams change, and they still have an opportunity to cut down nets. And one final opportunity to play together with Sam Hyvee. Izzy Bourne, Jazz Shelley both walked on senior day. Jazz Shelley has the potential to go play for the Australian national team. It's an Olympic year. You never know if this team is going to be together in a year. And so I think they're just kind of looking at it as, let's go embrace one final time and maybe make a special run together for this group that they really do. That's a tight locker room. And so let's see what we can do together one final time.
Kind of in similar fashion, when we spoke with Coach Manning on the show yesterday, he said this team wants to be the hunter and to go earn what is possible in the postseason. Those words can kind of be shared in the same light with how Nebraska women's basketball is feeling, but staying with wrestling here, they're trying to ensure that they follow last season's success of a top 5 finish. How have you seen this team embrace that be the hunter and go earn it mentality at the early stages at the NCAA championships?
Well, I think from the start of the season, you got to go back there. I think we were all thinking, well, this might be a rebuilding year. because you lose all those All-Americans from a year ago and replacing so many guys in the lineup and guys we'd never heard of Brock Hardy. We didn't know what he was doing in the wrestling room. And, even a Silas Allred, these guys that are stepping into weight classes and stepping into roles that guys had filled for 4 and 5 years for Nebraska and had been multiple time All-Americans. We're like, who are these guys? But what we didn't know behind the scenes is that Brock Hardy was holding his own against Ridge Lovett, and Brock Hardy was holding his own against CJ Red. And I think that's why they thought, maybe even going back to last December, a year ago, that, hey, Brock Hardy's gonna be special. And then I think they saw some guys, the way that they were competing against those guys that were going out, like, oh, we might not be able to miss a beat. And so Mark Manning came on at the very beginning, right, to preview the season, and told us that this team's better than last year's team. And we were like, what? No way. And he said that they had the potential to be better than last year's team. And I just was like, no way. And then I think the first duel at home, they ended up losing. And Brock Hardy, that was one that he lost. And then he goes on a ridiculous winning streak. And he told me, he was like, yeah, I think I let my emotions get too high with the crowd. And it was my first time out. That was his first time wrestling in 4 or 5 years. And so he ended up losing his match. And then I think a couple of guys, it was their first time out, maybe emotions too high, learning how to manage those emotions. And boy, then they go on a run. And then you start to see, wow, okay, I see what you're saying, Coach Manning. And so, and it's funny too, you talk about a team sport, and both of you guys have been on teams and in a locker room where it's special, but wrestling is such an individual sport, or can be such an individual sport. But I've covered a lot of wrestling teams, and this has been the closest as far as they've got team goals and they want to do big things for the team. And with wrestling, you can go say, oh, I want to be a national champion, I want to be an All-American. But I think they understand that what they do individually is for the greater good of the team. And so now I think that's why you'll see some of these guys that end up if they do get knocked out, like, who was it? Lenny Pinto. Did he end up winning last night in his wrestleback?
No. Gosh, and he had. Pinto's one of those guys, and I asked Coach Manning about him yesterday.
Did he say the Bobby Boucher of that
wrestling?
Specifically, right? It's because he's always stepping on the gas, and he's so aggressive. And I felt like it got away from him a little bit yesterday. If he just would have kind of throttled down and pulled back a little bit. Coach Manning said he doesn't really want to take him there at this stage of the season, but he's one of those
young.
Guys. I love watching him though, but he stays on the gas.
Yeah, and that'll come with time. He's a freshman, so he'll the more he gets the feel for how to it's a chess game, right? And I think for some guys it's a process of learning of how to approach each individual match. And so I think he's going to be a stud too, and he's got a bright future as well. But some of those other guys, I mean, probably just figuring out how to wrestle at these events. But yeah, and the key is going to be at the wrestleback. So if guys go back to the wrestlebacks, I had a coach tell me at OU once that a lot of times championships are won with what the guys do when they lose and have to go back and wrestle through those wrestlebacks. Those where you can rack up a lot of points as well. So we'll see. Hopefully the guys just keep winning, and you're getting the 5 guys go to the semifinals and the 5 guys go to the finals. But if for some reason any guys follow the wrestlebacks, they'll have to keep fighting. And I think that's going back to that team concept. I think you'll see them keep fighting even through the wrestlebacks because they understand their role is still important, even if they don't have a chance to win an individual national title.
He's got Feldkamp today, so I guess we'll see for Pinto. For the quarters, when you look at Nebraska, how good of a story right now is brewing. And I know you always usually get ahead of these, but this is coming out of nowhere, so I don't even think you could have pulled this off. But how good a story do we have brewing with Bubba Wilson potentially?
Yeah, I mean, and that was an upset, but I think that's part of being part of this culture and this team. And they are confident. They are confident. I mean, every guy that's come into the studio that I've talked to, it's just a different feel about them, that even the guys that I talked to last year that had been around and had done a lot of great things. I just think collectively as a group, they're feeding off of each other and it just, you see one guy, it's kind of like when you pass the bat in baseball, right? I mean, it's like one guy goes out there, gets up a big win, and then then gets a big win, and then the next guy, okay, let me add to that. I think they just build off of each other. And so I think it's a confident group. I think they're not going down there just to placed 5th. I mean, I think they're going down there to I mean, that's what they did last year. They're going down there to improve on that. That's their goal, and that's the culture that Mark Manning has set. I think they want to chase national titles.
Oh, no question. Hey, before we let you go, I want to ask you one thing. I want to change gears because you have such variety being the announcer and host on the Husker Radio Network. If you want to follow Jessica on Twitter at Jessica Coody, a lot of female representation on Coach Rule's staff, which goes to show that above anything else, he looks to find the best person for the job. How important is it to have a diverse staff at the end of the day, and not just important from a relatable standpoint because people come from all walks of life and it may relate to one person, or what may relate to one person may not relate to another, but even for other young women out there that live, breathe, and sleep football?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just did a long conversation with a few of the women. I mean, I talked to Dr. Elza. Yeah, talked to Dr. Elza a few weeks ago, and then there's the new nutritionist is a woman as well. And I think that's important. And I think having that female perspective, I was told one time that sometimes when you have recruits coming in, moms might feel more comfortable talking to the women than the men. And so, you have different, again, you just are providing someone for everybody that's walking through that door. And it is, I mean, it's a staff that's been put together that's from all different walks of life and can relate to all different recruits, all different players, but they all come together and that's what I keep coming back to, that I just, every time I talk to somebody on the staff, whether it's a young woman that's working in operations or the offensive coordinator, the head coach, player, it's the messaging is the same and they're all bought in. And I thought Kiara Mayo, who's assistant director of operations, she had said this about how when I asked her, at what point were you, I mean, you take the job and you think that it's a good fit, but at what point were you sold? And she said, I missed the first team meeting, but then I came to the second team meeting and I was there with the players in the second team meeting. And then we had a staff meeting and Coach Rule is holding us to the same expectations that he is the players, and everybody is on the same page as far as expectations go. And she's like, that's what I want. I want to be pushed. I want everybody to be held accountable, and everybody's all in on the same common goal. And so I think it's, I think it's important to have all that, but then I also think it's important to have people that buy into the same messaging and buy into the same direction and where they want this thing to go. And I think that was very strategic too, of how he put this whole staff together, from the coaching staff to the, behind the scenes staff are people with the same common goals and that understand it's a grind, that aren't afraid to work hard and believe in the direction that he wants to take this thing on, and believe wholeheartedly, not just half-heartedly, but wholeheartedly going to dive into this thing. And so I think it was diversity, but then also, the buying into what he wants them to buy into.
Shoot, I know we're up against it. I got to sneak in one more.
Go ahead.
Because so you've been around some big time staffs, and most recently Oklahoma before Nebraska. Are you seeing, because I know I have to check myself sometimes. I'm like, that's a little too good to be true. Or, man, I just talked to that person and they're super solid, or this coach, or, man, I love Coach White. And I feel like I need a filter, right? I just don't want to be all gaga, right?
Well, I'm not your person then.
Are you? Wow.
I'm positive Polly over here. I'm going to bring you down to earth.
Are you seeing similarities in well-run, well-organized staffs? You saw Lincoln Riley. You saw what that staff was doing. Are there some similarities in consistency of message?
Well, no. I mean, I think Lincoln Riley and Matt Rule are completely different, but I did have a little bit of a view of what Matt Rule did at Baylor when Art Briles left and that place was in shambles, and then seeing how quickly Matt Rule turned Baylor around and seeing the way that the teams came in. I saw firsthand how Baylor came in and just the mindset and how they played, and they played hard. And even when they were still on the upward trajectory, the way that they came in, it was just completely different. So I think I saw it from that point of view. And that's why from when the coaching opening happened, this guy, Matt Rule, was at the top of my list because I knew what he could do, because I saw what he did at Baylor. And I saw how quickly he turned it around and how quickly he made Baylor a competitor in the Big 12, which, and they were coming in and they weren't scared despite having Oklahoma being what it was at the time. Like a lot of teams in the Big 12 would come in and Oklahoma would win just because they were Oklahoma. And then I think, but Baylor was not a team that was ever intimidated when Matt Rule was there by Oklahoma. And they always were going to put up a fight. And so I think I saw just the culture change in Baylor and the way that he did that there. And yeah, but I do think the way that this staff has all come together and you're kind of seeing some similarities of teams that have success. And I think that's one thing that this coaching staff will maintain. And even when Dr. Ellis said it, we haven't won anything yet, but we're going to ride the momentum right now. I think they understand they got a long ways to go, but I do think they're celebrating the victories as they go right now. But I do think it's a staff. It's the momentum, what's in place does have the potential absolutely to be a successful program in what I've seen in the past compared to, I guess, what I've seen in the past.
Jessica Coody, we appreciate your time. Yeah, it does. It makes a whole lot of sense. We appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much. Hopefully we can do this again soon.
Absolutely. Anytime. And Team Andrew.
Team Andrew. Go team. Team Jessica, too.
Thanks,
team
JC.
Jessica, too.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not just me.
Bye, guys.
It's a shared vision.
Well, and in full disclosure, her bestie, he just kind of, he was our engineer, just got a job in the G League. And that was like, and he was an Andrew too. And I hope
it's a good name.
You guys,
that has nothing to do with it.
I don't know, like better connector than Andrew. Thanks, JC.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Bye, Jessica. Jessica Coody, announcer and host on the Husker Radio Network, at Jessica Coody again on Twitter. And going back to what she said about if you went to campus in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And just say that you went with your mom. Even still, not only maybe would she feel more comfortable, and I'm not trying to speak for your mom in any light, but you're a mama's boy. I'm a mama's boy. Like even seeing a female for me as a player would be like a comforting thing. Could be a comforting thing too.
Yeah, and until she said that, it never even dawned.
Never crossed my mind.
Never crossed my mind. So I could see that dynamic, especially now with being in this youth world for, I don't know, last 17 years, 18 years. Moms are very prevalent, right? And it's not just, well, the stereotypical narrative of the single mom household and mom's got to do this. No, like I'm talking like a Julie Noonan and a Danny Noonan, right? I mean, Julie is at as much the forefront as Danny is. So it's not necessarily by default, it's by choice. And there's a lot of it. I know female representation in our household in that perspective from, the boy's mom on down, like it matters. And so it's like, hey, I never thought of that until she said that in terms of familiar faces in the door, right? Like that was different.
It was different, but it all falls back on this over anything else. Coach Rule knows what he's doing. Like he's not hiring this person, that person because of how they look.
See, there you go. We're back to fawning.
He hires the right person for the job.
Do you know why? Do you really know why you and Jessica are connected?
Because we both like Matt Rule.
Yes, yes. She wanted Matt Rule.
Wanted Matt Rule from the beginning.
Yep.
She said that, and I'm like, didn't want to acknowledge. I'm an animated guy. The 3 logo on the head, right? Hey, coming up, I want to bring up Jalen Carter next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Hey, not only did I want to talk about the developing situation with Jalen Carter, I wanted to go back on a thought that we had a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about why the NFL needs to adopt certain things from the XFL. And it seems as though those good changes, those good proposals, rules are on the NFL's radar. In fact, you would say little brother is helping big brother. And I want to take a moment before we get there to talk about Big Brothers Big Sisters and their mission to support one-on-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of youth. Research has shown that positive relationships between littles and their bigs have a direct and measurable impact on children's lives. You meet twice a month to do activities, whether it's going to get ice cream, playing basketball, attending a sporting event. You can just be there to make an impact on a child's life. Go to mentoromaha.org to sign up to become a big today. Those rules, the ones, because I brought it up to you. I'm like, hey, so the NFL is actually taking into consideration some of those good things. And I said, which ones do you think they are? And you hit the nail on the head right away when you said roughing the passer penalties, and finding a way to incorporate a review there, and also personal fouls. And that was like the main one. That was the main takeaway. But then I was like, but they got the best one.
Onside.
The onside kick change from doing an onside kick, which if I remember correctly, did I say it was like 6 in 58 or 3 in 58?
Yeah, I guessed way wrong. I know that. It was a lot fewer than I thought were converted on onside kicks.
Low percentage there. But they are trying to change the onside kick and convert a 4th and 20 from the kicking team's 20-yard line instead. And I just think that's an incredible rule change. I mean, how exciting that would make it in late moments in the game where you could see your best player trot out to the field to try to make one big play. We talk about that all the time when we talk Dylan Raiola and that next top quarterback, right? Not only do you just want somebody that's talented, but you want somebody that can make the big play when it matters, right? That's something you just can't teach. That's something you can't coach. And having that guy, your guy in the NFL, do that for you just adds to the excitement of the football game.
Yeah, you know what I kind of like though? And maybe this is my Dallas Cowboys kicker moment because I'm partial to Maher, but I kind of like the 2 points from here, 3 points from, the 10, where you don't have to kick the extra point because, in the XFL, they don't have.
Right. You go 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, they don't have extra points. So I kind of wouldn't mind seeing something like that either. Although so many teams go for 2 now in the NFL, I don't know if you need to back it up some, but I do think it needs to be a little bit more strategic.
Right.
Because I don't want to take place kickers out of it, obviously, because field goals are huge. But if this was about 4 years ago and I thought extra points were automatic, or 5 years ago, but when they moved that thing back, whenever that was, it
changed everything.
Kind of turned into a circus
now. You went from hitting 98% of your PATs to probably
it can be abysmal.
Hitting your low 90s and around the high 80s mark.
It seems like it's a lot worse. So maybe I don't tweak that as much, but there was a time where I would have.
Well, when you miss one, you miss like 3.
Well, wouldn't you like to be able to go for 3 without having to kick a field goal?
I would, but also I don't want to get
too gimmicky
away from the game. Right. I like where, and me, I love my kickers. So if I can have a kicker make that big kick or make the so-called kick to keep you in the football game, I'm all for that. Whether it's a PAT or whether it's a long kick, but we're talking PATs in this example. I don't want to get gimmicky. That was a good word. I don't want to get there. I want to take the best from the XFL and apply them to enhance the NFL game. And, opinions are opinions. My opinion is the reviewing, the roughing the passer, finding a way to use something else other than an onside kick. But there's other things out there too, like the Lions proposed a 3rd challenge. I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, you didn't like that one from the jump.
I just don't think you need 3. Like, why? Don't try to really take away.
And some coaches just aren't very good at it.
Right? Yeah, that too. Yeah. And plus, when that it's like a 50-50, hey, he caught it, hey, he didn't, hey, his foot's in bounds, hey, it's not. The offense is sprinting up to the line. You don't have time to review that.
Listen, and
we don't guessing.
You don't need you don't need another challenge if we just figure out what a catch is. Once
that too.
You tell me what a catch is, and we agree upon that. We could eliminate a lot of drama and consternation because you're already hopefully going to address the personal foul, roughing the passer thing. Because those are the main 2.
Yeah,
right.
The big ones, and that's why they're top of the list for the NFL to be reviewing right now. They may not all happen. 0 may happen, right? But at least it's on their radar now. at least they're finally starting to progress in that direction. Another one I liked was the Texans proposing review on a failed 4th down attempt for spotting the football.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good one too.
So I get it, right? But all those angles we always get, overhead, did he reach the ball? Where are you at the bottom of the pile? It seems so convoluted. Like it's almost never cut and dry. Now we have seen those. I don't know what officiating Twitter accounts you follow, but we have seen like balls move back right before measurements or move way up. Yeah, and it's just like, wait, how are you spotting that? But I will say this, and Severe and I used to talk about this all the time. For whatever the reason, something as fundamental as spotting the ball seems to be pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm. And everybody does it differently.
It happens a ton. And
do you ever see the time where both officials run in at different angles?
Yeah.
And then they
one's going diagonal.
Meet, right? Because they don't want to look completely different.
It really was brought to my attention during the broadcast the second half of the season with Greg Sharp, because he watches for that quite a bit. I mean, he's just done it so long. He's training. And he's quick to say, I don't know about that. So now that it's on the frontal lobe, I pay attention to it all the time now. It's like spotting the ball. Apparently,
and you get that sky view.
Yeah, spotting the ball is pretty difficult.
The last one I want to bring up before I touch on Jalen Carter here, the Chargers proposed seeding wildcard teams ahead of division champions if the division champ has a losing record and the wildcard team has at least 4 more wins.
I don't know about – I think 4 is too many.
I think so too. I thought it should be 3 or less, like 3 max. 4 is outrageously high for a wild card team to outdo, say, even the Bucks this year.
Yeah, well, let's just think if you're 8-9, that means you'd have to be 12-5,
and you're a wild card at 12-5.
Yeah, like would that happen?
Not too often, which is why I think even 2 wins, right?
I thought 2 off the top.
Even 2,
right? Give me 10-7 over 8-9. I think you should be a higher seed.
Yeah,
but until they figure out the crossover games, like the divisions, because I mean, are you going to want parenting? Are you going to want parity in that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, shoot, last year I'd have loved to get the AFC South or the NFC South as like my crossover. Do I really want those 2 games of those 4 games? Do I want 2 of those, a plus 2 of those in the win column to matter if my crossover was the NFC East?
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, the NFC East was fire last year.
Yeah, went from the least to the beast in a hurry.
Yeah,
and it will be good again this year.
Really good.
I think so.
Especially with what the Giants have been able to do in free agency.
And I kind of think the Commanders are moving in the right direction.
They are. They're moving the needle. We'll see if Sam Howell's the answer. We will see. Yeah. He was highly touted coming out of UNC, your school. Not your school, the school you like, but we'll see if he can pull it off. Now, before we go to break here, I want to quickly mention Jalen Carter because he pled no contest Thursday to misdemeanor charges of reckless driving and racing, which means 12 months of probation, $1,000 fine, 80 hours of community service.
He wanted it over,
and will attend a state-approved defensive driving course. That's what I was going to get at. He wanted it over because this is where I was going with this combo. He was 9 pounds heavier than he was at the combine. So he was 323 pounds at pro day when he was in front of all NFL teams. I'd be heavier too, stressing out about this whole situation. And even though it's over, it's not really over in his head.
No, I know.
Like this is somebody that's going to need therapy.
That's why
he's going to keep replaying this incident over and over in his head.
That's why I said it's really when they were talking about, the character issues. And I was like, well, I said for him, it's the biggest sentence will be carrying around whatever his conscience says about how that night actually played out, right? Because, I mean, we know that he was guilty of bad judgment, but further than that is, man, I had to go back and replay that in my mind. I've corrected my story since then, or at least come clean, or however you want to look at it. But you're not going to shake the conscience.
And also, in latest reports, he stayed at the crime scene until he was told he could be released. Talk about somebody that's at least loyal, right, to the situation. And
why did it take so long for that to come out, though?
Right. Interesting, right? Coming up next, Kevin Iole.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you on Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency, alongside my guy, Damon Benning. I'm Andrew Rogers. Happy to have you with us. We are live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club. And this is exciting because we get to talk UFC. DB has been on it all week. He's been, he even DM'd or texted privately with Brian Edwards after we talked to him yesterday about UFC lines because he's like, hey, this is the weekend for UFC. And we get to talk to Kevin Iole, who I can't wait to ask certain questions to. He's on the line now. I like that Kevin's title. Shane had it in as MMA columnist, but Kevin is a combat columnist.
Yeah,
that's how I read it.
Boxing and UFC. We get the best of both worlds.
What's up, Kevin?
I'm doing good, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Very good. The UFC is in the UK this weekend. The welterweight champion, Leon Edwards, hoping to make a successful first title defense standing on home soil. His challenger, of course, Usman. And there's a little extra drama building in the main event after the exchange, the unforeseen trash talking that took place regarding the two fight outcomes. Already the eyes are glued to the TV for this fight, Kevin. Do you expect a cautious battle in the beginning while both try to let the other slip up? Or do you think with the buildup of emotions we're seeing that one, if not both, will come out swinging?
I think it's going to be a typical Usman fight. You're going to see Usman fight his fight. He's going to go out there. He's going to try to mix wrestling and striking, using his wrestling base. he knows he can't just go out there head-to-head and strike with Leon Edwards. That would be insanity for him. But if he puts in the threat of taking Edwards down and he uses his striking that way, I think that's what he's going to do. I think Edwards is the wild card here because he has a really interesting mix in his game. No question Usman is the better wrestler, but I think Edwards is probably the better jiu-jitsu player, and that's a wild card in this thing where everybody's focused on Leon striking alone, and he has fantastic striking. But he has the ability to get him to the ground and finish him. And I think that is something that not a lot of people talk about.
Kevin, I think it's interesting. Usman's from right in our backyard, know him fairly well. And it seems like his last 4 or 5 fights, he's kind of fought the I'm a legit striker kind of mentality where he's stood and exchanged a lot more, I think, in some of his big fights. And I think some folks thought where he would use wrestling to his advantage. How much do you think what happened late, even though he was dominating the fight against Edwards, gets him to go back to maybe a little bit more of the intricacies of him being good on the mat?
Well, I think in order for him to be good on the mat, he has to have the threat of striking, and in order for him to be a good striker, he has to have the threat of wrestling, right? I mean, so I think that for him, he has to pose threats both ways. Because guys can defend against somebody who's just a striker or somebody who's just a wrestler. So what makes Usman great is kind of like what made George St. Pierre so great over the years. George would look at you and he would figure out one thing. Are you going to be easier for me to beat if you're on the ground or if you're standing up? And then that's all he would do in his fights. He would make wrestlers box and make boxers wrestle. And that's an oversimplification, but I think that applies here with Kamaru. So I think, what Kamaru has to do is, he's got to have Leon guessing. He can't sit there and say, hey, I'm just going to use a wrestle-heavy style. Maybe he does, but he has to set that up, making Leon think he's going to throw his hands or throw kicks, whatever he does. And I think it'll be, as I said in the answer to the other question, I think it's going to be a typical Usman thing because that's what makes him great, his ability to mesh everything together.
You talk about being a good striker, having a wrestling background too. The prelims are headlined by Jack Shore, who kind of fits that same mold, and he's facing off against Makwan Amirkhani. Shore, a prospect to watch, of course, while Mr. Finland, I should say, tends to struggle against resumes of Shore. How big of a prayer does Amirkhani need to say in order to win this fight?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the only question I have about the fight, which is why I laid off it. Is I don't know what the weight is going to do. You're seeing Shore jump up in weight from bantamweight to featherweight. Yep. And what effect does that have on him in the fight? I haven't seen him fight at that weight class, so I'm a little bit hesitant to fight. But I think he has all the tools to win that fight going away.
You're taking a look at Gaethje. Not off. I mean, he's a really live dog. I think at like plus 190. And listen, Rafael, we kind of think – we look at it as maybe two careers heading in opposite directions, but you just never know with Gaethje. Does that plus money intrigue you?
Well, it's funny. I play dogs so much, and this week I ended up taking Fiziev. And the reason I took Fiziev is for a couple of reasons, but I think Gaethje's been taking a lot of damage. And how long can somebody's body accept that, right? And I think he's been in so many wars. And maybe I don't think he's slowed down appreciably. But when you're talking about the highest level of this sport, if he slowed down just a little bit, that's enough to get him beat.
Kevin, I asked a buddy who absolutely loves watching and betting on UFC last night. We're talking to an insider tomorrow. What would you like to know? Like, really, what would you like to know? And he said he can't for the life of him figure out why the betting world is still disrespecting Justin Gaethje. He said, and I quote, he's beat so many bleeping monsters in the octagon and kills guys that are defense first. What do you make of that so-called quote right there? And to follow up on your previous betting point, if people are leaning toward the dog, do you think there's value at taking him at plus 195?
Well, look, Justin Gaethje is one of the 4 or 5 best lightweights in the world. So if you're getting one of the best lightweights in the world, which is arguably the UFC's best division, at almost 2-1, I think there's value there, right? I mean, there's no question about it. But I think what you have to do is look at what Justin Gaethje, the gauntlet that he has run through. And so to answer his question, let's go back to 2017 of December. Starting at that point, he fights Eddie Alvarez, not only a former champion, but an elite striker. Dustin Poirier, James Vick was a little bit of a downgrade. Edson Barboza, one of the great kickers. Donald Cerrone, Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira. There's all-time greats in there. That is a gauntlet like few have run through in the UFC. And I think when you look at that and you look at, what did he come out of that? 5-4. So I don't think he's being disrespected. I think that, they've given him a lot of credit. But I think you're seeing, he's trending maybe in a little different direction than you would like to see.
The UFC's got some great cards coming up in succession. And listen, Edwards and Usman's not to be outdone with Stipe and John Jones. Did you have to take a double take, or there's no way you could have expected the quick choke out? But John Jones at heavyweight, being able to get on the mat, we know about his striking ability. How dangerous of this one is it for him and Miocic?
When he fights, if and when he fights Stipe, I think Stipe is going to be his toughest opponent. And I said that from the beginning. After Francis beat Cyril Gane, Francis Ngannou beat Cyril Gane in Anaheim last year, I said the biggest fight when John Jones comes back is not going to be against Francis. It was going to be against Stipe Miocic, because Miocic brings a lot of different tools to the table. Francis has that power that if he touches you, he's going to knock you out, and there's no question about that. But, John Jones has done very well against guys of that ilk. And I think that when you look at it and you say, who is the guy that can cause him the most problems? It's somebody who's athletic, somebody who has great striking himself, somebody who is a wrestler himself. I don't think he's going to out-wrestle John Jones, but I think he has enough wrestling he's going to force John to do some other things. And he's going to force John to kickbox a little bit. I like Jones just because I think that it's very difficult for all these guys to get that combination that Jones has. And Jones's length is so great, right? The late Stephan Bonner one time said to me when he fought Jones at UFC 94, the biggest problem that he had with Jones was in 2 steps, Jones was already all the way across the octagon, and you couldn't get your distance with him. And I think that creates a problem for everybody, including somebody like Miocic. But I think Miocic, of all the top-level guys now, I think Sergey Pavlovich and down the road Tom Aspinall might be threats to John. But as of right now, and I said this after Ngannou beat Gane, that I thought the biggest threat to John Jones at the time was Stipe.
Let me take advantage of the versatility, go to boxing. We've now know fully and I think we understand the rehydration clause for Garcia. When the fight was agreed upon a couple weeks ago, I immediately worried about Garcia's weight. And I know you've got to take some chances. Does that change the way that you look at this fight?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think when you're not able to get up is what you want to wait. Hey, look, Ryan had fought mostly at lightweight until the last fight, and he said, I want to go up. I'm too big for lightweight. And people were saying, fight him at 35, fight him at 35. Well, this gives you a hint of how big this kid really is, right? And so now all of a sudden, you have to look at it, is he going to be totally hydrated and refreshed on fight night? And this is the biggest fight of each of their careers.
Yep.
And so you don't like to see any, what's the word I'm looking for? Any kind of weaknesses or deficiencies in either guy going into the fight. And you want to see them at their best. You got to wonder, you have to just kind of pay attention to what you see from Ryan in the build-up. But I think he's going to be able to deal with it. I think it's going to be a really fantastic fight. And I think the winner of this is going to come out in really good position in a crowded division.
Kevin Iole, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much. We will talk again soon.
All right, guys. Enjoy the fights. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kevin.
At Kevin I on Twitter. You taking the guy that's oozing confidence right now or the guy with longevity? It's got to be Usman, right?
Yo, I'm Team Usman almost every time he steps in the octagon.
And
I'm going with Usman.
There has to be some type relationship has to play into that for you.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But I'm telling you, he was dominating that fight.
He's better. He's better than Edwards.
That's kind of how I felt about Pinto for the majority of his match yesterday.
Right. Mike Sautter up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
I would agree, Damon.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
I'm trying to think about how conversation would go with Mike Sautter if we got in a car accident. Like, if I didn't know Mike Sautter on the side of the road, like, how would that conversation go with Mike?
Why does he look so mean?
Just thinking about that. I would probably first call Dingman's and make sure that they can get my car in if I got into an accident. But would Mike be talking my ear off? Would he be ticked off? Would he be telling me that Aaron Rodgers will go to the Jets eventually? Would he be telling me that high school sports in the state would be nothing without Mr. Mike Sautter, which I agree with?
I never said that.
I'm trying to think. What our conversation would be. What would our conversation be? If we got in a car accident and you didn't know.
It depends on the situation.
Okay, say I hit you from behind.
Like, what rate of speed was it?
We'll say it's.
Oh, we just know we got to go to Dingman's.
Yeah, we'll say it's 30 miles an hour.
Oh, just
leaves
you,
a little
crabby Mike.
You not paying attention and just
Sam dialing the radio.
It would also really depend on if my kids are in the car or not.
It's just you.
Oh,
just you.
Well, I'm in the vein of like I've had this car for a couple of years, and I like cars like I like shoes. So
you'd be happy. You'd be like, "Thank you." Please total.
I'd probably yeah. I want a truck. What would be more disappointing based on what's been said? Dylan Raiola doesn't go to Nebraska, or Aaron Rodgers doesn't go to the Jets.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't go to the Jets would be way more disappointing in my world.
He will not. He's just playing you.
You are crazy. He said, "My full intention is to play for the Jets." What is that? What more else is there besides the compensation part?
He's just messing with your head, man. He's messing with your head.
No, he's gonna play. He's mad. He's angry, and I want to pissed off Aaron Rodgers. Give me that guy.
And again, if you get him for 2 years, a year or two, your roster's in good shape.
I'd be more than fine with that. I got my Jets hoodie on today.
I thought it was just because you wanted to wear green for St. Patty's Day.
Nothing to do with St. Patrick's Day. Nothing to do with that.
Amateur hour for you?
Yeah, no, I'm not about that life.
I just saw a tweet of people labeling their top 5 QBs in the AFC.
Yeah.
Would you throw Aaron Rodgers as a top 5 QB?
In the AFC?
In the AFC?
Probably not. Probably not. It would be close. Maybe.
So they have Mahomes, Burrow,
Herbert.
Allen,
Herbert,
Lamar, and then Rodgers. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lawrence, and Rodgers. Mahomes, Allen, Rodgers, Burrow, Herbert.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
And
people are forgetting about Justin Herbert. Who's really good.
I don't know. Right now, I would probably take Rodgers over Herbert.
Burrow.
Not in the long term.
No, but like tomorrow, yeah.
I'd probably take Rodgers over Herbert tomorrow.
Man, an angry Aaron Rodgers who has a point to prove.
Yeah.
Feels like it's
the proven guy.
Yeah.
And talk about a guy.
And if you want to get into like clutch versus not clutch, neither one of them have been blowing the doors off of. Yeah, I'll take Rodgers in that one probably.
I know they're all better than Mac Jones.
Wow, you're down. Wow, so she gets pushes herself away from the table.
You see that knife that just?
Hey, so, in all honesty, man, how long did the? I love the superlatives deal.
Oh yeah.
With the boys and girls, how long did that take?
Long time. We worked on it. Well, the idea came about a month ago or two. And then started kind of working on it last week and telling coaches, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts? I'll text you or email you because I wanted coaches' feedback because you have to with that stuff. And then it took.
You just don't want to go out on a limb?
It took Monday. No. No.
Why's that?
It took all day Monday and Tuesday to. And really, you just want like affirmation that you're not way off on something like that. So it took all day Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday basically to get those kind of wrapped up and decided. I guess that was more of the work was okay, man. Dig in and you look at all the statistical data because you want that analytical part. If there's something breaking, and for the newcomer awards, for sure, it's how big of a or most improved. How big of a jump did they make from one year?
I thought the most improved was pretty was pretty cool.
Even though I chickened out on the team and not naming one person, but in A on the boys' side. But
for most improved,
yeah, I named. Well, I put Stubblefield as the captain of the most improved team, And then I had Bangot Doc and Derek Rollins, basically all the guy like the Chuck Love, like all the guys that were freshmen, they kind of made a jump. Those three, Amari Bynum, guys like that. That like the freshmen they played but not really, and then this year they were like, okay, they made a big jump. So that was sort of that. BD had a terrific year for Southeast. So
why do you think they? Can I just ask you this since we're on Southeast?
Yeah.
Why do you think they didn't play through Voss more?
I don't know, or Hilkeman too, like a little bit, right?
I mean, play through.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know that question. I think it's probably because guards they're pretty guard dominant, I guess.
Gosh, because
the personalities.
It seemed like when
personalities.
he like playing through. Listen. This is full disclosure. I would go back to the summer with Jacob Padilla. I go, I know it's not my team. I'm not coaching them, but playing against them and then watching them so much. The more he touches the ball, the better the more good things happen to Southeast.
I mean, he's a Division II kid too. It's like there's talents there. I don't know. I just think they really went through BD a lot, or Bangot Doc a lot, and he's still undecided and figuring it out. He's going to play again as an unsigned senior. So I don't know. I mean, he's also BD 6'9", and he's got to learn how to stretch it out. But Voss does a lot of the little things that just you don't really look at, and you're like, oh yeah, that guy's amazing, because he's going to give you, 12 and 6.
What team do you think is looking at this year and thinking, man, we missed it?
That's a good question. Probably.
I guess you maybe have to think about what they're bringing back next year. Maybe Northeast,
maybe, because Christian Wynn was so good for them. Lincoln Northeast. I look at Southwest. Yeah, as something just wasn't right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if the kids didn't log chemistry type of thing. I think that was a little bit of it, because the young guys are super talented and the older guys thought they were pretty good, and there was just some friction there, I think. I think that's probably the one that, like,
toughest to replace easily, Elkhorn South.
Yeah,
all those seniors.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge, I think. I think that'll be really hard. Even in guys like Jackson Muller-Swan that did a tremendous job, it's really tough to replace those guys. I think Papio South replacing Devin Jones and Muljal will be a little dicey too. Even though they have the young, like Devin Jones did, as far as for Defensive Player of the Year, Devin got some love there. So I think losing those two guys would be a little tough.
Curious to ask why you chose to go a different direction than I think maybe what people thought would be the easy choice for Coach of the Year in Class A with Woodard.
Yep.
And I'm just curious to know, like, how'd you settle in on your choice?
Coach's feedback that I got, Coach Heiser jumped, like he had more.
I thought it would come down to Coach Heiser or Coach Ludke.
It also was, did they exceed expectations? That was my.
That's that's how you should look at it.
Woodard,
just curious. Yeah.
I think Coach of the Year stuff should be. That's what it should be. How best coaching job.
Right.
Like, love Doug, obviously.
I think it was just like the story in my head. Like, oh, it's last year. Went out with a bang. Like I figured that.
That's why they got the Team of the Year. So I also tried really hard to kind of separate. Like, it didn't want
not get too Bellevue West heavy.
Yeah, but at the same time,
we have seen though, to the victors goes.
Yeah, they deserve it. They deserve it, and a lot of that too is in those decisions I made. It was, did their team make it to the state tournament? Did they lead? Like, how far do they go? Those kind of were tiebreaker things. But as far as Coach of the Year, I think a Coach of the Year thing is, did they exceed expectations? And frankly, Papio South, I don't know, maybe a little bit exceeded expectations, but adding new pieces.
I'm telling you, man, I
did a really. Joel's a great coach.
I think Prep did.
Prep
look at their roster, man.
Now next year, Prep will have they'll have
Depends on
major
how those guards
expectations.
develops, and Klaus, they got some pieces.
They'll be in the mix for sure. I think they're gonna be really pretty good. And if you ask Josh Lukey at prep, he's like, we peed down our leg. Like we should have been at state. We just didn't finish.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but that's the reason why Joel got it. One, coach's feedback. And I will tell you, one of the coaches was Doug. Like I called Doug and asked him about stuff, and
you can't go wrong. I mean, he did a super job.
Right. Yeah. And
his
staff is
again,
so good too.
West Side and Gretna, just two places. Or Gretna and Papio South, just two places. West Side just does not play well.
Yeah.
Like you just know when you go there, you're going to have your hands full.
Staff does a great job. They've been with him forever too. Coach Cooley's great.
Never had a positive experience in that gym. he does he and I think he just thinks sometimes I'm just being nice to him, but I mean, not really. Like he's good.
He's Coach Heiser will do he doesn't have the big personality, right? But that booming voice is something. But he'll throw these little one-liners in there that will just get you kind of laughing if you have a conversation with him. And it's like
a dry sense of humor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's funny.
I know I'm going to get laughed at.
Huh.
But I'm telling you, given their individual pieces going in, and if coaches really take True Serum, do you know who exceeded expectations? If coaches really took some True Serum about what they thought when the season started and how they finished up.
Kenny.
Yeah, I don't know.
Millard North.
Really?
Nobody I know said anything good about Millard North all year. How are they pulling it off?
For me, they were top 5.
This is going to be the week. The continuity.
New coach losing
the pieces, like they
must not have really
but ask that team what they used as fuel.
Really,
they knew that they were disrespected.
That's crazy because I thought they were
just because of the lack of being talked about. Like
I think it's individual. Well, some of that is by default too, though. So
that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked.
Yeah,
I thought they weren't being talked about.
Some of that is by default with the rankings this year because it wasn't. I mean, you painted the picture in the summer. You painted the picture this summer. It's not deep. You said it's going to be there's a top 5, 6 teams, and that's it. So so to say top 5 is not like some great disclaimer,
right? And
that's why I was talking to him.
So people must not know Millard North End, like must not have really paid attention to Millard North End.
But even Millard North internally used the disrespect card.
Edson Miller did almost everything for them for the last handful of years. He was basically, I mean, Kanan did a lot too, but like Eds did a lot of like the
they had to mesh that staff with Monster, the new group.
Right.
You got new faces.
I don't know. I'm not really big on like, oh, they disrespected us all the time. It's like, well, like, no, you're good. And like people knew you were good. And like the people that knew they were going to be good this year. And like they were, I mean, at the beginning of the year, I think even in the summer, I thought it was always Bellevue West. And then you had Westside and Millard North were the 3. If anyone, in my opinion, it'd be maybe like a Gretna that should have been talked about more.
But preseason, was Gretna top 3?
I think they were
third or 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Them or Millard North.
I thought Jeffrey may get most improved.
Yeah, that's a good call because he really did play well. Jeff Vrzal from Gretna. He had a great year. I think I don't know. I guess when you break it down, you just look at like I just kept going back to Stubblefield because he was the 9th man on a team last year. I mean, and then he led the team in scoring and rebounding.
I'm the last guy to ask because I see him every day.
I just that's just I just kept going back to that like, and at times offensively, he was the only option. Like,
it's interesting
to get scored. And I will say this: coaches that I talked to said when we played them, he was our biggest concern offensive on the defensive end. How are we going to stop him? How are we going to guard him? So that was, that's why I guess I did that.
What are you thinking? Obviously with Danny's decision
Yeah.
last week, you had the piece on that. One of the dominoes falls in state-wise. I know you're not really surprised.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at the feedback?
Yeah, a little.
I was too.
I mean, him going to Missouri, good fit for him. I think it's like
Drink
trying to
does a good job.
Yeah,
with
they're
recruiting.
good. I mean, Missouri's a nice fit. It's close enough to home. His parents like to be involved and around and stuff, so they can get there easy.
I know that drive like the back of my hand. It never feels easy.
Well,
it seems longer than it really
once you
is.
get out of Kansas City, it's like Wyndham, I should be there by now.
Right. That's when it sucks.
Yeah.
Because when you drive to Kansas City, you're like, okay, I know it's going to be roughly like 2 hours and 45 minutes. Maybe
once you get right outside of it on the east side, you're like, okay.
It's like, when are we there? When are we there?
A couple times I felt like I was in the mountains.
Well, you get to Warrensburg.
Right? When you get to Columbia, it's like.
Yeah, you get to Warrensburg, and then you're
plateaus,
like, I still have another hour and a half to get to Columbia? Like, what is happening?
Has a little West Virginia vibe.
Anyway,
it does.
Continue.
So I lived in West Virginia. That's why I can say that. K-Line going there, good fit, all of that. People weren't shocked. I don't think that Nebraska wasn't. I think they both kind of realized, hey, they're all in on this other quarterback, and you know, if you need to make a decision, go make a decision. And he did, and it's a good fit for him. I like it. Do
you think people are just sensitive because of what happened with Zane and now
maybe,
another
but
in-state guy and that
guys
started?
Let's face it. Like if they get Raiola, no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
So
completely agree.
And they should put all their chips in that basket right now. I mean, they've been down the road so far right now. And frankly, Zane is way better than Danny K-Line. That, in my opinion. And
I'm in complete agreement.
Way better. It's not even in the.
No, I wouldn't go. DK's pretty good.
He is good. No,
he's pretty legit.
He's good.
You're not taking that away from him.
No, I'm not. I'm not taking anything away from him. But Zane's a different cat. Yeah. Like he's just from a leadership perspective, from a personality perspective.
Yeah, you're saying if you swapped out personnel, there would be state records would crumble.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Danny's a power conference quarterback. I've always felt that he had that in him. Not knocking him at all. I just think Zane's better.
Do you think we should be careful? I don't know. I'm just asking. It seems like McMorris has jumped Hall in terms of wide receiver love.
I've seen that. I get that.
Right? Like, remember, so a year ago at this time.
Hall was just at Penn State, by the way.
A year ago at this time, like it was, we got to find an answer for Davon Hall. Then it was, well, he's been, people didn't even consider Davon the next best receiver. It was Kyrell.
Yeah, Kyrell got more run.
Then it was McMorris late. Now it's like McMorris and everybody else. I just think it's like, and he did it without having to play another game.
Yeah,
pendulum swing.
Yeah,
right. I think zero answer for.
I think
Kyrell.
I think a lot of that is they're much different guys. Also, like, is Davon gonna be a wide receiver? Or
he wouldn't even play defense for Huffman.
I know he didn't want to, but they played him there. And Davon's more of a straight lining guy. Now, I'm not saying that he's not twitchy and all that stuff, but Isaiah is very.
So I think the
twitchy.
one advantage,
and
there's a couple
frankly,
of other. The other advantage I think that I give McMorris over all of them is like he wants to be great.
That's what I was going to say.
He works his tail off.
I was just going to say I honestly think, like, I've known Davon since in 8th grade. I think McMorris, if it is 3rd and 5 and you're running a slant route, he's going to get in you 6. And he's going to do whatever it takes to get it. And I don't know if Davon has.
Yeah, I know if they both play defense, they change that team tremendously.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, their new defensive coordinator. Be interested to see what that looks like from them.
I'm glad we get him early.
Yeah, I bet.
Before they can before he can kind of settle
maybe
in.
again later.
Yeah. I mean, because I think, what are they? Is it week 2 or week 3?
Yeah. That'd be fun. Christian Jones, by the way, Westside guy, Notre Dame offered this morning. So
yeah. I know this too.
Interesting. Here, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go.
I'm just gonna. So this is my quarterback.
He's the most unassuming, legit recruit.
Christian,
in a long
yeah,
time.
he doesn't
He
care.
couldn't care less.
Yeah. My question is this: going back to quarterback stuff, and I may be probably not the only one to think this, but to say it out loud first is if they don't get Raiola. And Andrew, I think you and I talked about this yesterday, just off the record stuff, but I'll put this out there on the record. If they don't get him, they sure do like multi-sport kind of athletic guys, right? Damon, you might know where I'm going with this, but and this quarterback plays baseball, so he doesn't have he can't go on the recruiting part.
You're talking about Vrzal.
Anthony Vrzal.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of, and I don't want to call it fallback option, but is that the
the
other
offers are
option?
coming in?
He's starting to get more run, and he is that multi-sporty guy that
if you're looking for an in-state guy, it's a good choice.
You know what I mean? Like, is that the guy they're keeping in their pocket?
I bet they're more looking at the portal right now.
Well, yeah, I would say that. But if you're going with a high school guy that you can turn into an athlete,
right?
That
I know one thing, and I'd rather be I'd rather be right than well liked. If I had one game to win, Anthony's my quarterback.
No,
I like he's unbelievable in crunch time.
That's why I'm throwing that out there.
He loves pressure. He's a genius.
No, he's real smart.
And he's he doesn't need a babysitter.
People always talk about we need one.
He's still growing too. Like those guys were at baseball the other day, and they looked over the fence because I park in the back at the school, and they're like, "Hey, DB," and they just look over the fence. I'm like,
not on their tippy toes.
You had to have gotten your mom's height because Lisa's tall. I mean, DJ's a good sized guy, but he's not tall. But I mean, they're big, strong kids.
That's I just think in my mind like that might be the one guy that they're just keeping in there.
Keeping in their back pocket.
Yeah.
They like that Saunders kid out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So that's somebody else to keep.
They're Sunday midday. I don't know. Fill it out.
You know
in state though, it's a good. It's a good.
And frankly, everyone always
he's way good.
Everyone talks about multi-sport and what multi-sport kids, but I don't think football players, kids that play baseball, they're at a little bit of a disadvantage as far as football recruiting because they can't take visits like this weekend because they have a baseball game.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Or they can't throw for I will be in town on Sunday or whatever, Tuesday or whatever. Well, I might have a baseball game.
Next week we'll talk.
I think I'm staying here.
We're gonna talk summer teams.
Oh, AU? Yeah, I'll have all those rosters hopefully next week.
Saw a couple posted.
Yeah. Interesting.
A lot of the who's who.
Well, Sautter, we appreciate, as always, all the high school talk. He'll stick around, though, because he's facing you again. He wants redemption.
I'm winning this
in
time.
trivia.
Fine.
And we're going to play for somebody here to get some money off their meal.
All right. Can I lose back-to-back weeks?
I don't know. Maybe.
Taking an L.
Maybe. Doggy dog next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Hey, back with you on Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency, alongside Mike Sautter right now, coming out of the break. I'm Andrew Rogers, DB in the back. He's hiding away because he cannot hear the questions prior to trivia. You can't hear yourself? You are potted up.
Oh. All right.
You good?
As long as people can hear me.
They can all hear you. I'm just going to pot up all four.
That's all right.
You were potted up. Did you not hear yourself the entirety of the last interview?
Yeah.
And you just didn't say anything right away?
Yeah, I just rolled with it.
Well, hey, I appreciate you rolling with the changes, REO Speedwagon style.
Man, you're putting me on the spot.
Man.
You ready to play?
Oh,
trivia?
man.
You are playing for our friends in the back.
I'm sorry.
Okay?
I feel sorry for
If
them.
you win,
My bad.
$25
Pioneer
gift card
seat hat,
in their
though.
pocket. Yeah.
I know what's up.
I thought that was DB coming in. I'm like, wait a second.
All right.
All right. So here we go. 3 questions. And then the
JETS,
tiebreaker.
let's go.
You get multiple choice. Question number 1. Only 3 legendary athletes have their numbers retired league-wide. The first was Jackie Robinson.
Yep, I knew that.
The second was Wayne Gretzky. Who is the most recent and had it done in 2022?
Holy.
Was
moly.
it Roberto Clemente, Bill Russell, or Jim Thorpe?
Roberto Clemente.
Let me write down. Question number 2. Who was the lowest seed to win the NCAA tournament? A 6, an 8, or an 11?
We go 6.
And question number 3. Who is the only coach to win the national championship at 2 schools? Basketball. Rick Pitino, Roy Williams, or John Calipari?
Okay. Pitino did, but does it count?
Oh, that's all I'm asking. Who was the only coach to win?
Technically, it'd be Roy Williams, I think, because the Pitino one got taken away from him at Louisville.
Who is the only coach to win the national championship at 2 schools? Rick Pitino.
Like, am I
Roy
right?
Williams,
am I right? I'm right.
John
right?
Calipari.
He won the national championship, but it was taken away from him.
Who is the only coach to win the national championship at
Did Roy
2
win at KU?
schools?
That's my thought. Okay, I'm going to go because I feel like you're going to catch me on a technicality here. If I say Pitino, I'm going to go Roy Williams because I'm pretty sure he won at KU. No? Let's go Pitino. Pitino. Screw it. I'm going to say Pitino because I will fight this tooth and nail to the end.
And our tiebreaker question, how many times has Villanova made the NCAA tournament? Just a number. Closest to the number wins the tiebreaker.
30.
30 is the choice. Sasha, you're on your way out. Can you grab DB for me, please? You feel confident?
I'm a little. The Pitino one. That one is a little sketchy.
Hold it in the bank. Don't want your thoughts skewing DB's
I'm
answers
winning
here. Again, playing for a $25 Hail Varsity Club gift card. DB, well rested, walking in after his short timeout. Got a 30, or was it a full? 30-second? I bet it was a full, right? We had a full timeout.
I'm like Aaron Rodgers. I'm a winner.
And Mike Sautter is already threatening me, DB. So
I will there's give you sketchy one in here.
I will give you the questions.
For real.
And remember, you have one Hail Mary. You ready?
We will fight.
Okay. Question number 1. Only 3 legendary athletes have their numbers retired league-wide. The first was Jackie Robinson. The second was Wayne Gretzky. Who was the most recent and had it done in 2022?
I know I got this right.
I'm actually going to take the Hail Mary.
Is it Roberto Clemente, Bill Russell, or Jim Thorpe?
Bill Russell.
Question number 2.
I'm pretty sure I got that one right.
Who was the lowest seed to win the NCAA tournament?
The number?
The number. I'm sorry. What was the lowest seed is the question.
It's what were Villanova and Butler? They were 8. They're at 8. They're 8s.
And
I think UCLA did it too.
Question number 3. Who is the only coach to win the national championship at 2 schools? Basketball question.
Rick Pitino.
And the tiebreaker question, how many times has Villanova made the NCAA tournament?
Villanova?
Mm-hmm.
I was probably way off on this, but.
Well, I know Pinckney and those guys did it in '85. Wait, just
the tournament,
just making the tournament. Appearances.
Okay, they did it twice as an 8, so that's 3, including Pinckney's team. So I know that.
At least 3.
Whatever was the Jenkins beat flipping North Carolina on the game winner.
What was that, a 3?
I will go with Nova has made the tournament. Is this the tiebreaker?
Yep.
Carolina's in the CBI this year.
They've made it 14 times.
14
You're
times.
probably way more right.
And
way too high.
Let's go through the answers.
Carolina's in the CBI or see you at home. Is that what they're at right now?
See you at home.
The see at home.
See you on the golf course.
That's awesome.
All right, guys, here we go. Only 3 legendary athletes have their numbers retired league-wide. The first is Jackie Robinson. The second was Wayne Gretzky, who is the most recent and had it done in 2022. Sautter said Roberto Clemente. DB said Bill Russell.
Right, the Bill Russell
the
one,
answer
is right.
Is Bill Russell.
Yeah. When you
Bill Russell passed away in 2022, and right after that had happened,
that's right.
His number got retired league
Sorry.
wide in the
I
NBA.
apologize.
So 1-0 here. Still time. What was the lowest seed to win the NCAA tournament? Was it a 6, an 8, or an 11? Sautter said 6. DB said 8. The answer is 8.
Damn it. I was going to say 8 too.
Let's go.
When he said 8, I was like, this is some.
And you got the team in Villanova. They are the
Butler was an 8
seed.
once.
But they never won.
No. But yeah.
If I could cuss, I would right now. Really bad.
That's 2-0. This question, all for funsies, I guess.
I'd like to sweep it though.
Who is the only coach?
This is where I almost, and then I was like, this is technicality crap.
Who is the only coach to win the national championship at 2 schools? Was it Rick Pitino, Roy Williams, or John Calipari?
Oh.
You both said Rick Pitino. You both are correct.
Not really, though, because he got it taken away from him.
He still won the national championship.
That's where I was like, okay, this is a trick question.
I had to read it 10 times to Sautter.
Do you think we thought we beat Gretna? We didn't.
That's different.
No, they still beat our ass.
They did.
And the tiebreaker, how many times has Villanova made the NCAA tournament? Sautter said 30.
I just threw it way.
DB said 14.
I'm way low, though, so he's closer.
It's 41.
Yeah.
They made the tournament 41
so
times.
I got 2 right.
It's like
So you put the
Arkansas.
numbers
It's like
backwards.
Arkansas this morning. It's
You
a
put the
little
numbers
dyslexic.
backwards.
Yes, I'm
14
telling
to
you though.
41.
The
Something is
Clemente one,
going.
I should have known better on the Bill Russell thing. I knew that too. When you said Bill Russell, I was like, damn it, I missed. Or darn it.
It was a
I'm
very.
sorry.
It counts.
Listen, and in my defense, right, with the whole sweats and I couldn't see and couldn't get Arkansas and
You were just getting
Alabama
worked
figured
up for
It was
trivia today?
it was a bad morning. So I
Arkansas
took a
is
bunch
good.
of things that like altered my mind, and I'm back.
You're
Claire.
back. Well, now you're locked in.
we
Three
were
for
just
three.
we were just discussing betting lines for today.
No
Yeah.
gift card, by the way. No gift card.
Sorry,
TV
I
wins.
apologize. I messed up on the one.
So who's my nemesis? Is it?
I'm gonna catch you. I was
In
gonna say
regards to
your
trivia?
Yeah.
something.
Well,
else.
Ray beat you. Ray's
Listen,
AP one.
Ray was ridiculous though.
He went 3 for 3.
Yeah, Ray
And
was-
he answered, like I told you, I'm like, man, you know when like sometimes if they take a little too long, you're like, you looked that answer up. Ray was like, answer right after I said it.
he's
right after I
and
said
he
it.
seemed pretty confident. Ray, I don't even think I was. I think I got worked in that one, didn't I?
It was probably 3-1.
Yeah. Well, that's bad.
Yeah, well,
if you want it to be close, you want to get 2 out of 3.
where would you rank these questions
They're tough.
in toughness on the scale of what you've either seen?
They
1
weren't
to
as
10?
they weren't as tough as they normally are.
That one wasn't as I think. Yeah.
They weren't as tough as they normally are. But the 8 seed thing, like I just know.
Yeah.
Like I know all the 8s that have made it to championship games.
Well, you won't forget it now, right?
I think Villanova twice, Butler and UCLA.
I thought Butler was a
Kentucky,
6.
were they an 8?
Maybe, but UCLA did it when I was a kid. So it had to be like 80 or 81.
You are older than
UCLA,
me.
I think, was an 11. I think they were the 11 seed that made
Were
it.
they?
You're like a decade older than me, so that is why.
It's not even true.
What's that?
Not even close to being true.
Thanks,
Go
Sautter.
Michigan State.
Matt Vrzal up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning. Now let's find out what Matt Vrzal is better at. Telling stories or making pizza.
Matt's an exceptional young man.
Matt Vrzal.
Happy birthday, Matt.
You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Vrzal.
Come on, Matt. Matt, I'm with you.
You know, like Matt Vrzal, you're one of the sexiest people in the world, but you're not one of the most beautiful. How does that happen?
Here is Matt Vrzal.
All right, Matt. Thank you very much.
I tell you what, I was getting ready to talk Dyer Law. If you've ever been hurt in a personal injury accident, you can count on Dyer Law. That's a team that's provided to helping you, giving you a helping hand when you need it. You can call the Dyer Law team at 393-7529, or you can visit the website at dyer.law. I'm not hurt like a personal injury.
You're hurt emotionally?
Yes. Can I call them for emotional distress? I'm like, hey, this is Dyer Law. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm feeling some type of way. I'm in my feels a little bit over this intro that Matt Vrzal got.
And not only that, you were also maybe still feeling the repercussions of the Jessica Coody interview at 8 o'clock
what was
today.
that all about? Like, she just laid out and whacked me. And then Amazing Daniel, or somebody showing you Verzal's parking T-shirts.
Oh, yeah, that was Clint, right?
Yeah, that was great. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Oh, you guys just keep talking to each other. I got plenty of time just to sit and listen.
Oh, good, because we just want to keep you here, just on the line.
Yeah, you guys just keep chatting, and I'll just keep working.
Hey, so Matty, are you a better storyteller or a better pizza tosser?
Oof. Some would, I mean, that's a 50-50. Some would say,
yeah, when you get going, man, it's pretty funny.
Well, I'm funny all of it.
No.
You just don't always get the joke. Like the joke I sent you, which you didn't even get via text. That was hilarious.
Wait, what did you send me?
About a common last name of one of the guys on the recruiting trip.
Oh, yeah. So did you ever? So wait a minute. Did you ever answer my question? Oh, this is a total sidebar, Drew Don.
We can't talk about this on the air.
No, but you can give me a number. Like, how many are there in total?
Buddy.
What?
You're missing the punchline. There's one going on the recruiting trip, and there's one that lives in the state of Nebraska.
Oh,
they do not look similar.
Oh, my bad. That's right. Sowing seed.
There we go.
Yeah, I got it.
There's the joke grenade.
I'll explain it later, Andrew. He's basically calling it, and I dropped the ball. Well, I did not get
I'm gauging that right now.
Oh,
Well, you in your helicopter dad mode. You're making sure you got retweets and all that stuff out.
What was I retweeting, Matthew?
I don't know. You did something. Caleb had something that you put doing work or hashtag blessed or something. I just get a giggle out of it when you have to do it.
I'm gonna freaking slap the dog manure out of him. Hey, so Maddie, do you have any lunches today that you're getting ready for?
Oh, buddy, yeah, we got a couple going right now. That's right. We won't be able to go. We probably won't open the doors today until 2. So we got a whole bunch of catering today.
So hey,
we're gonna get that done, and then we're gonna open at 2, and some people are gonna come in and watch the Jays.
Hey, you'll be swamped, and it's St.
Lot of cheese
Patrick's Day,
pizzas.
man. Hey, so you have to really be busy if you're not gonna open until 2, because I know you know how to make dollars make sense.
Yeah, they're loaded up pretty good today, and then I've got to go. I'm actually headed out to Holdridge, Nebraska after that to go. I'm a speaker at the 8-man coaches class.
Oh, they do a good job. You know, I talked to them about that last year. I think if it's the same thing, those guys, they're aggressive. I like what they're doing. I wish I knew more about the 8-man game though. But you covered it. You did it for the finals, right? Like you got a pretty good grasp.
It's football. You've done it before.
I don't know.
Like I highly doubt that I will be out there like giving them inside information about what schemes to run. It's more of I'm just going to come out and just talk to them about coaching and changing landscape and just athletes and that kind of stuff.
Version.
And then we're probably gonna have about 47 drinks. Because the guy that got me to do it, he's like, hey, there's no need to talk a real long time. I was like, oh, got it. I was like, perfect.
Wow.
Like that's
you kind of like to have some drinks. It's my kind of place.
Hey, let me ask you something. With spring ball right around the corner, and I think I just asked, do you like kind of what they've got on tap with the O-line in terms of all that experience returning with the same voice? Like, can that be a different kind of spring, do you think?
If the production from that group was like immense, where you were just like in awe of what they had done, yeah. But I don't think anybody would say like, wow, that offensive line I sure really dominated. For me, it's a chance for them to have a rebirth and say, okay, last year, anomaly, we were all in a different place. We're doing something different now. Let's go out and show what we were. Because believe it or not, at some point in time, these guys were all viewed as elite level players, and they all played as such. So now it's time to get back to that, with a little more discipline, a little more structure, a little more accountability. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Can it be a huge bright spot? Yes. But is there work to do? Yes.
Verz, everything we're hearing from the staff, the way they speak, the vision they share, it all aligns with a set of values, family values. When was the last time, and maybe I'm thinking too recent here because I only have a short stint here in the state of Nebraska, but in your opinion, when was the last time a Nebraska football staff has felt more like a family, in your opinion?
Well, that, you're like 12.
Well, finally got you.
Yeah, there it is.
I would say I'd probably have to be at Pelini era. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. All those guys will have a family feel, or all those atmospheres will have a family feel. It's just how functional your family is. As we see in society, like there's a lot of dysfunction out there. And it usually is a trickle-down effect from the parent down into the child. That's the same way on a football team. If the head coach has some form of dysfunction, then I'm not going to pick on Mike Riley, but just say Mike Riley. Like, Mike Riley's a nice guy. He's a really nice human being. But once those kids figured out, hey, if I call in and I say I can't lift, I can't do this, I can't do that, Grandpa here is going to let me out of all of it. It does not take long for that to happen. It does not take long for that to spread. So every family, it's a family atmosphere always, but this now is a family based in discipline and a family based in those principles that we always talk about that matter. Accountability, trust, those kind of things.
Maddie, when you're
I didn't mean to offend you, young guy. I'll give you 16.
What did he say? Did he say 16?
Yeah, nothing phases me anymore. I know I look 16.
Matt, let me ask you something, because we never
you lucky SOB.
It's just jealousy at the
Hey, how's that? Are you still engaged?
Yes, I am still engaged. That is, yes, a thing.
Your kicking team isn't even on the field yet, but that's how far you have kicked your coverage.
I do love kickers.
Man, she is way. That was good work by you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I tap myself on the back sometimes.
Hey, props to me.
You should.
Hey, Maddie, I don't even know, of all the conversations we talk about, and if I'm asking you about line scheme or whatever, why is offensive line play so hard to gauge or judge, like project?
Because it's viewed as the march of the elephants, right? We're going to throw these huge individuals out there. They're going to push real hard and move these guys. They don't understand the intricacies that go into it and how leverage is established. They see the pretty, right? They see the guy running the route on 7-on-7. They see all that fluff crap. They don't see what those big dudes have to do down there and moving a large body to do it as well. So,
Matt.
But here's the thing about linemen. We don't care. Go watch the pretty. We know at the end of the day we won or lost that game.
So can there be that much improvement if teams and like play wasn't what it should be? Can there be that much improvement?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, because you answered that quick, so you must know why.
There cannot be a slack nature on a false step, on a misstep, on bad hand placement, on not knowing the responsibility. Those things that used to be like, oh, that's all right, buddy, you'll get it next time. It now has to be, no. You missed it once, that's it. Now you missed it again, you're sitting down. So that kind of stuff that's what you should see this year.
Verse, quickly here, I was listening to the roundtable discussion between Coach Rule, Trev, and Coach Osborne, and my biggest takeaway from it was to protect tradition, but also have a spirit of innovation. How have you seen tradition evolve, good or bad, from when you were a player to the state of the program where it is now?
Tradition was abandoned. I mean, from the time that they let Frank Soros go and old Stevie P wanted to take it into the new generation, we will not gravitate toward mediocrity. It was all gone. Because that family atmosphere that we felt, which was based on trust, based on loyalty, based on accountability, that then became paranoia. And it takes a long time to get rid of paranoia. It just does. And it was, I mean, the only time and then you're in a bad spot because you're trying to relive the old, but the old is gone. You've destroyed it completely to the ground. So now you have to be able to. Bill Self said it best when he took over Kansas. He said, "I'm not here to rewrite history. I'm here to preserve tradition." And so that was a big statement to me. And I was like, "Man, that dude gets it. Like he understands what the assignment is." Yeah, they haven't. The tradition has been kind of gone for a long time, but now you got a guy in there that's got a chance to rebuild it, and you can still instill the black shirts. The only tradition that has remained is you have the most loyal fan base in the country.
No question.
They will sit and watch games and sell out a stadium and watch a team that doesn't win.
Wow.
And that should speak to how awesome Nebraska people are. They're spending hard-earned money.
For a mean-spirited guy.
There's a few people here in town that make easy money. There's a lot of folks over there that pay them to get to make all the money.
Yeah, okay. I was just getting ready to say something nice. Yeah, I'm good.
I wasn't even talking about you.
Well, Appreciate that, Matty. Appreciate
And
that.
How come you didn't get? How come you didn't get invited to that round table, Damon?
That was a distinguished 3, buddy. Okay.
That was. I mean, I think we needed some
diversity.
Yeah, I knew it. I was waiting for it. I tapped DB. I'm like, I know where he's going.
You're a jerk, but I love you anyway.
Yeah, I think that was. I don't know. I think you should maybe call your boy.
Yeah. All right, I'm on it.
There's great work.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate your time. See you at VRZ51 on Twitter. That'll do it for today's show. If you're looking for a place to go and watch the games, Hail Varsity Club is a place for you. They have fish specials tonight for any Creighton fan that's looking to watch the game here. Another jam-packed day of sports, another great day of sports. For Damon Benning, I'm Andrew Rogers. We'll see you next week.